can cope with that much cope.
That worked. The timing was perfect there, wasn't it?
Yeah, good fade.
Now I should.
Oh my! What would Flat Earth have to cope about, Jim?
Right, I just want to issue a warning before we go any further that I have had a bit of a BSOD error on my computer that has occurred a few times. Now, I've got the air conditioning running and everything, but if I do just disappear mid-show, then you're just going to have to hang around and wait for me to get back, and I will return as quickly as I can, but it probably won't be, it'll probably be about 10 or 15 minutes or something like that. But anyway, hopefully that won't happen and we won't have to deal with it, but just in case, if it all goes dead, you know what's happened. Now then, please feel free to super chat the show and I will read out your comment, or better still, there's a PayPal link in the description and you can just send me your money, which would be lovely. Now then, shall we get on with it, everyone? Okay, yes. We will.
Please do.
Let's get warmed up.
I've braced myself.
Oh, you're going to like this one. Let's get warmed up with a video billed as the most Aussie interaction ever. Enjoy.
It's a big dog, mate.
Shove that camera up your ass. Stop fucking pointing it in my face.
I think you're pardon, you fuckwit. Oh, fuck you. Go fuck yourself. What do you expect, mate? You're walking a fucking llama.
Hey, mate, go get some fucking praise. There's a difference between a fucking alpaca and a dumb cunt like you. That's an alpaca, alright?
Yeah, you look like one, you fuckwit.
Fuck off, you dumb fuck.
Look here.
Yeah, well, they weren't very friendly, were they? But apparently that is an alpaca and not a llama.
Why are you walking an alpaca, though?
I know. It's interesting, isn't there? Because there's another video where there's a guy with an emu, isn't there? And some guy says something to him, and he goes, it's not a fucking emu. It's a... What's another bird like an emu?
Ostrich.
That's an ostrich. An ostrich. Or maybe the guy says ostrich. He says it's not a fucking ostrich, it's an emu. It's interesting, though,
oh my
isn't
goodness.
it? It's almost the same video, just a different animal.
Man, that dude was pissed, though.
Yeah.
Real quick. It just went from 0 to 60.
I don't think alpacas are native. Yeah, it's a foreign species. They need to get rid of the alpacas.
Right, drones seem to have suddenly disappeared from the news, but a week or two ago, they were still going strong. Here's a report from ABC News that went viral.
When things like this are happening, it seems everyone starts to look up, like my crew and I have been here in Mendham recording this video that you're looking at right now. We have no idea what it is, if it's a natural phenomenon, because it could be, but this is why so many municipalities are now asking people to reach out and send their videos to them or to experts who might be able to sort out what they're seeing in the skies. But I guarantee there are so many people looking up and making those recordings because this mystery is one that needs to be solved. For now, we're live here in Mendham Borough. Tony Yates, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Lee's saying he's wondering whether or not that might be the moon, Tony, but you pointed out it's exactly the question people are asking. What is it?
No. Yeah. Yeah, no, we're looking at the moon right now, and that's nowhere near the moon.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, the moon.
So that was Venus, apparently. But I like the way they'd managed to record it in a flatty way, hadn't they? So it looked all wobbly and stuff.
Yeah, that looks like Flat Earth videos that you've shown.
I could see.
Is this cameraman new?
That's okay. When the governor of Maryland couldn't identify the belt of Orion and Betelgeuse, that was pretty moronic.
Yeah. Okay, let's get some flat earthing done, starting with some brilliant analysis from Brian's Logic.
Now, if we take what Google shows, and this is the funny thing, Google Earth shows something, and Google Earth has it wrong, because they're trying to insert, they don't actually, it seems to me that they don't actually understand the globe rhetoric, and they've done it incorrectly. And I'll show you what Google Earth are doing. So this is moving the sun from the 15th of the 12th, 2024 into the 16th of the 12th, 2024, which is when they were taking that video. So if I just move this slider, you can see the sun is coming from the west and going to the east, right? Now, people might say, no, it's going east, north, west, south, right? So it's still going east to west. No, east to west is east, south, west, north. Not east, north, west, south. Right? That's the problem. Google Earth have it completely wrong. Now I'm going to show you Dave's video. Right, I'm going to play it. I won't have sound on. Now, the sun in their video is also moving west to east. Look, west to east. It can't go west to east. The sun doesn't go west to east. Like, because we're looking north now, it would appear that it's okay for the sun to come from our right to our left. So it's either that they're absolute frauds, and this is a massive fraud, and they have either on purpose got it wrong to troll us, or they've gotten it wrong by pure accident, which would be more ironic. And Google Earth have it wrong, right? Or this is real. They have filmed a 24-hour sun thing in the sky above Antarctica, but because it moves the wrong direction, that debunks their globe. But it can happen over a horizontal stationary plane, over a flat Earth, right? Because I have no idea what the sun is, or how it does what it does, or what any of the luminaries are. So whatever is going on in the sky, it's independent of the Earth, and that means that whatever movements happen in the sky, the Earth has no bearing on them.
Brilliant. What do you think? Google Earth have got it wrong. The sun itself has got it wrong, but Brian's got it right.
Yeah, I see a video of it doing. I see a video, and it's not doing that. What's in the video is impossible.
Right.
Just,
right.
Except when it's high in the sky, that's okay. Now it keeps going up. Now it's not okay.
It sounds like he was mad that it did what they told him it was going to do.
Right. Next, a flatty who is seemingly delirious with joy at being shown he has been fundamentally wrong about everything for a decade. This is Fake Flip.
Hello guys who follow Fake Flip. So what I thought about the final experiment? I loved it. Simply loved it. It was even better than the Netflix with the other shield there, the guy they believe, because the Glubbers, they believe everything you tell them, right? They believe that the one is a flat earther, that the other one is a Globber. They believe anything. They will buy anything. They're like kids, like children, you know, being lured with candies. Just fantastic, fantastic. And I loved the final experiment, even better than the one with the other guy there. So basically, this guy, Duffy, he's a genius, really sorted, a bit very sorted. Well, I have to admit that I like all this sorted part. Like, it's very Machiavellic, really. The way he mocked the Globbers was fantastic. Really fun. The way they mess with their minds, it's just incredible. The way they mess with the Globbers' minds. Duffy, genius, really. The whole screenplay, the script, the scenario, the production everything was just fabulous. Looked very realistic. It's true that there were a few glitches here and there on the screen and the chroma key things there. It's true that he needs to improve this part though, but the Globbers, they just don't care. For them, it's all reality. It's all fun. You know, it's like you can give the Globbers salami as a planet and they'll buy it. You can tell them about chemical intemperism bringing salt to the rivers. They'll buy it. Yeah, they'll believe anything. So, and they know it. They know that the Globbers believe anything, and they treat them like kids. Really, it's like throwing candy inside a van. About it, you know, this was really the best about it. The way they sorted. And the Globbers, they believe that oh, that old man is a Globber. The other guy, the girl, is a flat earther. The girl was even thanking God. Oh, thank you, because they acted. The acting was something. Really, the acting was fantastic. And then the people, they would come one by one in front of the camera. they will come in front, one by one in front of the camera, and like saying, "Oh, thank you, everybody, thank you, Will, for bringing me here." It sounded like Oscars, man. I felt like I was watching the Oscars ceremony, man. These guys, man, wow. But it was very good for, really good for the Glubbers, because really they deserve it. You know, the Glubbers deserve this kind of thing. They deserve salami as planets. You know, they deserve whatever they give to the Glubbers, like satellites, dinosaurs. They deserve these things. You know, they evolved from monkeys that they live spinning in vacuum. They believe it all. They believe it all. You know, they believe whatever you tell the Glubbers, they will believe. Man, I've watched it already 5 times, and I'm gonna keep watching. It's the best one of the year. Fantastic, really, guys. That's what I thought of the final experiment. And these things, you know, the Glubbers, they just don't question anything. They just believe. They just believe. It's amazing. They don't question the location. They don't question the timings. They don't question the glitches. They don't question the script.
Yeah, speaking of terrible acting.
Oh, God.
He was awful, wasn't he? And what a vile individual. I've actually got more of him being vile later.
Is he... he's really hyper. Is he on uppers?
Well,
Maybe.
how would I know?
I don't know, but it'd be interesting if he ever got to a point. It's like he just kept
people
on
were tracking
going
them.
meta on it and never coming around to a point.
Right, that was it. He had nothing, did he? Just a silly little act.
Kept saying it was fake.
Yeah. Okay, in our last show, we featured Critical Think, who's a Glober who went to Antarctica, and his flat earther friend Mick. Here they are again, post-experiment.
Now I'm going to bring in my guest. You may have seen Mick before, and his prediction is the sun would not set. So it's a bit difficult to see with these glasses on.
I'm outside, so I can show you where the sun is here in Brisbane, Australia.
Yep.
So let's pick up the computer here. Hang on a second. So the sun is very high up in the sky for me. There it is there. And that way is north, and that way is west. And so that's and the local time now 2 p.m.
So around 2 p.m. it's 1 a.m. here at Union Glacier, and the sun is behind me, and we see it to the south.
I see it too, yes. And so so far it looks like you were right and I was wrong. And so
yes,
what we need is still 24 hours. Like you need four solid days of nothing but sunlight.
Yeah.
You might
get.
And you know the thing that Will said earlier, because I was watching along with Will on his channel just before, and it certainly does totally negate the AE map, doesn't it? It definitely
certainly does.
Yes, it definitely does. The Gleason's map is in the toilet.
That was your favourite map, Mick. What are you going to do?
Well, I might tell you a bit more about that when you get back.
So,
there is more to that.
Yeah.
But I won't mention that just yet.
So you have said that you'd open your mind a little bit if you were proved wrong about this sun.
Yeah.
Is that still the case?
Yeah, certainly. And so what it means is that I'll have to go back to believing that all the NASA stuff is all real, and you know, for now at least, I don't know, until there's more evidence for something. But this is certainly strong evidence that the sun doesn't go down at the South Pole.
it ended.
Wow, an honest flat earther.
Right. I wonder how honest he'll end up being in the end. I mean, he was always.
He seems really butthurt.
He was already talking about something that he was going to show him when he got back, wasn't he? You know.
Yeah,
that was one of the ones that I
believe
saw
live.
Oh, let me say, the great Gertrude Perkins says, "Rest in peace, Jimmy Carter. He was an island of sanity in a sea of stupidity." Thank you very much for that, Gertrude. Sorry you had to wait. Sorry, guys. Go on.
I just couldn't get past his head wear. I get the glasses. I understand why he's wearing them, but what was up with the cowboy hat over the over the winter head?
It's an Aussie bush hat, and he always wears it.
That's his stick.
Okay.
Okay, Flatzoid.
And I think his friend Mick is no longer a flat earther.
Right. Flatzoid is now famous for his video editing ability. Here he is showing off his superior video production skills. Just 2.5 minutes of this, you might want to know.
So guys, I just thought I'd quickly show this anomaly of the sun with its frames at the mountains. I find it very odd because it was supposedly set as a time-lapse of every 4 frames movement. I'm going to show you, if you look in this bottom corner here, the time. I'm taking it frame by frame, and that means it should take a picture, a still image, every 4 frames. Why is it that when I see this, and I go through the frames frame by frame, those are not 4 frames? It keeps constant 4, and then it changes by the mountain only. Notice that this is only happening by the mountain, not the rest of the video. And I think I saw it at the end of the video as well, where the camera went past it. Let's look at it quickly. You can see 8-06, 10. So that's 4 seconds. 4 seconds. So that's a change every 4 frames. Okay. There you go. See, it's a change every 4 frames. Oh, sorry, that's it. There you go. 4 frames. Yes. 4 frames. 4 frames. Keep up. Watch this. 4 frames, 4 frames, great, 4 frames, 1 frame, go back, see, 1 frame change. What does that say? So it's not 4 frames again. There, again, 3 frames. 4 frames again. It keeps being inconsistent. 5 frames, 2 frames. So why 3 frames again? Then it goes to 5 frames. Why is it keep on giving us inconsistencies and not giving it 4 frames every time you see a movement? When I am back from holiday, I will be doing a closer analysis for everybody, showing that the sun's position moves up and down and left and right based on this weird frame count anomaly. Well, thanks all for coming. Keep the truth going, and Will Duffy, I'm not digging any grave, man, just pointing out the problems we see. That's called truth seeking. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day. Many, many blessings. May the pressure be with you.
May the pressure be with you.
Can someone teach? Yeah, can someone teach him how to do like video editing and like maybe like adjust the volume?
Right.
I didn't understand anything he was saying.
Exactly. That's why I put it there. It was just couldn't understand a word of it, could you? His point was, I think, that as he moved down the timeline of the video, that sometimes every 4 frames he was seeing the video sort of tick on and a visual change in the image, but then sometimes he was getting that from 1 frame or something.
That's probably the program itself.
Yeah.
Either the programmer itself or the sun does vary its rate through the sky.
But I think it seemed like he'd got it on a 4 frame setting, and if he'd put it on a 1 frame setting and gone through it frame by frame, he probably would have seen a change in every frame. So I think it was a deliberate deception, that was. I think putting it up to 4 frames and then moving it on 4 frames at a time and saying, look, it takes 4 frames for it to move, and then just moving it on 1 and saying, oh, this time it was only 1. Well, and also it relies on his guesswork as to whether any pixels have changed in the image, right? So I think it's
why did he do it in
Go ahead.
Why did he do it in PowerPoint, though?
I have no idea. He's on holiday, isn't he, somewhere? So he might not have all of his stuff available to him, I think.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was ironic that he was showing off what he knew about video editing in a video that was almost unwatchable. And he still uploaded it. I mean, he had the ability to watch it back, but why did he put that dumb music in the background? Okay, next, a video from David Weiss's channel that he stole from a flatty called Stephen Alonso, featuring a model that Stephen stole from Shane St. Pierre, who stole it from Walter Bislin. Enjoy.
We just got Dave McKeegan's time-lapse footage of the 24-hour sun in Antarctica, and it's doing exactly what the Flat Earth model predicted it would do. This is fascinating. This is a big win for Flat Earth, even right now as it starts climbing up through their arc of vision. Look at that. Every prediction made by the Flat Earth model has come true.
So that's all you get of that, but I mean, just the dishonesty. Oh, it matches the Flat Earth model perfectly. You fucking liar. Honestly.
Okay, so let me get this straight. He predicted something using a model from someone else he stole it from.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That stole it from a glober who said that it's impossible because he made assumptions that are not physically possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the bottom line is a flat earther did not make the Bislin model. So
Right.
it just kills me.
But for him to just present it like that as, oh, it matches, we've just got the footage back from Dave McKeegan and it matches the Flat Earth model perfectly. You liar.
Yeah. I mean, David Weiss has said that it be 24-hour sun in Antarctica and be flat.
Right. And a lot of them are still arguing that it was actually faked, including Weiss. And, and there still isn't a 24-hour sun in Antarctica.
Dubé put up one just this morning, I think, and he's all about Amazon Studios has a portable studio that they can put up anywhere in the world, and goes on and on about it's all LED screens like in the Las Vegas sphere, and it's just so ridiculous. But he went way deep into how this Amazon portable studio, could be put up anywhere. Therefore, it was put up there, and the 5,000 foot drone footage, and the 5,000 foot drone footage means nothing.
Okay, Earth Awakenings is a Discord community of flatties who love everyone and are anxious to share their well-reasoned position with anyone with an inquiring approach. Here they are at their helpful best.
That's funny. You guys need to make a new map.
I'm gonna ask who's gonna do a new map. We are?
Someone said that.
Yeah. How does it work?
Who made a map? Did someone make a map?
Yeah, we had our map guy make one.
So, like, in your map,
Who's the map maker?
Is the Antarctica is like the rim, like on the outside, right? On any flat Earth map, is that wrong? Is that correct? So this is what I'm saying, guys.
What map are you referring to?
Any flat Earth map that I've ever seen has Antarctica on the rim on the outside. Is that incorrect, or is that right? Just trying to get an honest answer.
What map?
Like any flat Earth map or model has Antarctica as not a continent, but the border, the wall.
Which one are you talking? Are you talking about one specific map?
No.
Yeah, I mean, there's hundreds of map projections that are all flat. So which one are you referring to?
Yeah, which one's the right map, dude?
No, yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I'm on good faith. Is there any flat Earth map that doesn't have Antarctica as the border on the rim on the outside?
No. Which one of the globe maps is the right one?
I don't know. I'm asking about the flat Earth maps. Is there any flat Earth map that doesn't have Antarctica as the rim?
What I'm trying to point out is that there is no accurate map. It doesn't exist.
What defines a flat Earth map?
And I would say North Pole in the center and the South Pole as the border on the outside. I mean, is there any flat Earth map that doesn't have that? That's my question. Yes or no? Just ask me about the globe map, I guess. Whatever. You guys are dishonest.
Do you really think that we're dishonest?
I do, because you don't want to answer my
in good
question.
faith, or else you guys are dishonest.
Dude, I'm just asking you a question. No one wants to answer me. I'm asking you just a very simple question. Like, are there other maps out there that doesn't have Antarctica as the wall? I mean, that's a pretty straightforward question. I'm not trying to pin you or anything.
I answered yes. I answered yes. There are hundreds of projections, so I already answered your question, and you're playing games and doing some kind of bad faith trolling is what you're doing.
Dude, what is Antarctica in the other map? It's just a good faith question. Is it a continent in these other maps or what?
I don't even know what Antarctica is.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of flat earthers even claim to know what Antarctica is. That's the thing, though. If you say that you guys are going to need a new map, you're saying that all flat earthers subscribe to a specific map or a model, which is clearly not the case. So, like,
okay, that's fair.
It's just like a stereotype fallacy from the start, right? You're saying, like, all you guys are flat earthers, so you guys believe in this.
I thought they all thought that Antarctica was not a continent, but the border. Like the wall. I thought that's what everyone believed. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
The highest evolution.
Yeah, you're wrong.
All I really know. Whitsitt, Steere, ask Whitsitt.
Some maps show Antarctica as a continent. Some of them show it as two separate land areas. It's a lot of different maps and projections. So when you say all, that's kind of an issue if you're going to try to lump everyone into some category.
Can you show me a different flat Earth map?
Yeah. So we've just been going along like there's going to be a documentary, right? With the flat Earth guy, because we have complete final cut, final edit. And by the way, he's 100% a flat earther. So it's going to be a flat Earth documentary, bro. It's going to be a pro flat Earth documentary. That's the only professional content that's coming out of this. A pro flat Earth. And like, dude, I'm telling you, I vetted him. He's 100% a flat earther. 1,000%. You know, and
good stuff,
it's
bro.
going to be dope. Yeah, it's going to be dope.
Can't wait to
This
see
is what I
it.
was trying to tell everyone. Like, you guys don't really maybe see the full picture or whatever, but like, bro, this is totally all pro flat Earth. Like, it's all wins for us. Like, and the creators in control, and you know, yeah, it's super exciting.
They were so dishonest, weren't they? Just so. What map? What?
We don't
what
have a map.
We've never heard of a map. What are you talking about, map?
Yeah, they all denied. They all denied the
if I'd done what
map.
they would have said, they asked what the globe has. Yeah, it's like, well, the globe.
Right, yeah.
No, that's not a map.
Anyway, all right, who's next? Pete Shea's favourite flatty next. This is the fittest flat earther.
You guys recognize all these symbols like the devil horns and 666 and 666 and 666 and 66 from the D's and Adidas because they look like sixes and 66,000 followers, and that person's following 333 people exactly. Would you trust a group of people that were all doing this? What if these were all from the same group of people? A group of people that you have come to trust and believe are just providing you truth. That's Austin Whitsitt from The Final Experiment in Whitsitt Gets It. This guy was in the Old World Order. And hey, that's Admiral Byrd, who's a known Freemason. But this video was long overdue because I've been sniffing this out for a while. I just wanted to make sure I was sure. And I'll be totally honest, I feel bad about including David Weiss in this because he's been a buddy of mine. But you know what? Buddies don't lie to people, and buddies don't deceive, and buddies don't hide knowledge from you. And that's what all of them do. They all hide knowledge from you. But of course, all of this was just coincidental. All their hand symbols and the fact that he's following 333 people and that just 66.6 thousand followers are following him, and they always wear the Adidas hats with the D's that can be sixes. And yeah, Austin just accidentally threw up the devil horns multiple times and also showed his pyramid multiple times. All for entertainment purposes. I'm a satire account. Gotcha.
So absurd, isn't it? This whole hand position thing that they do.
I saw the hand position. I don't know what you're arguing.
I know. I mean, the first one he was showing didn't seem to be anything, did it?
Those were clearly gang symbols, Jem. They were flashing gang symbols on the film.
I just think these are gestures that everyone does as they talk, you know. And so if you want to, you can take any video of somebody speaking to a camera and accuse them of being, you know, Masonic or demonic or whatever. I don't even know what he was accusing them of, but, you know, you can always do this with anyone.
If you don't know what a devil's horn symbol is, that means you've never been to a decent concert in your entire life.
Yeah. Okay, Flat Earth Banjo has a lot to lose, and so is one of the most ridiculous critics of the final experiment.
Hi guys, welcome to the show. Man, this gotta be the shadiest mockumentary or documentary ever made. Man, those characters are a joke, man. The very first thing, who of you remember the Behind the Curve documentary? You all remember, right?
Yeah, familiar with it.
So there's a scene there where the guys went to NASA in Houston. I think it was Mark and Patricia. They went to Houston, okay, NASA. And they had the whole place closed down just for them, you know? The whole place was closed down just for them. The NASA, man, in Houston, closed down the place, cleared out just for the two of them. Very suspicious for something that was not supposed to be a documentary. It was just some flat earthers, you know, visiting. Now listen to this here, guys. Listen to this video here.
And look at the whole place is empty. It's just us. There was 10 people on the flight.
And look at the whole place is empty. It's just us.
And look at the whole place is empty. It's just us. And look at the whole place is empty. It's just us.
All right, guys, this is high season, man. That place should be packed with tourists, you know? So they cleared out the place just for the guys to make a movie. You know,
Yeah,
it's
no
cleared
witnesses,
out.
right? No witnesses.
No witnesses. So I got Union Glacier here at 79 South, 83 West. So what they might have done, they might have taken, another plane, and flew somewhere like 2 hours, you know,
West, definitely.
west, so they could see the sun
They went searching for light.
coming. Exactly, for the lights. They could see the sun coming, you know, facing north, seeing the sun coming from east to west.
Yeah, and they have
And
all
they- Yeah, they can. We don't know where they are. They don't know where they are. I just had a comment here where Whitsitt says he doesn't know where he is.
Of course he knows
Right?
where he is, but it's just, oh, please. come
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
They've given up believing these people. Everything they say is a lie. Of course they know very well. Whitsitt, he knows very well that he's lying. It's just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Come on, it's making me sick.
So Matthew, you had a question. So that's the point, okay?
Yeah, like, I
they
wanna
were
know,
supposed to
like-
be filming from Union. That's where we could go actually and check, but they are in an undisclosed place, okay? It could well be 2-3 hours west from where they are supposed to be. All right.
It could
So
be
when
a
it's
little bit
midnight here,
8
it's like
hours away.
yeah. 4 or 5 hours. It could be well west, you know, and they can claim it's midnight and see the sun
Yeah.
coming from east and going to west, you know. I mean
I think what they did, they just messed up. They messed up. They were probably thinking in United States time or something, and they didn't recognize the time zone where they would be, which is probably why they were off by so many hours. And yeah, everything seems like a deception. Personally, I think they're all just lying. This could have been filmed partly in a studio, partly in the North Pole during the summer, and the people did change. You know, I did notice that Austin and Jaron, they did definitely change over the summer. So
yeah,
this
they're
whole
different
thing,
people.
yeah, this
They're
whole
different
thing, this whole thing could be more complex than the fake moon landing. What they're doing, what they're trying to put on us right now, could be more complex than when they lied about the moon. The level of like technology they're using, communications, like this. Some people could believe the final experiment if they did not look into it. You know?
Yeah, because they are on a base here somewhere, west, like 3-4 hours from Union Glacier. And as you said, Fake Flip, you did it really good. Like they left their trackers here, and they are right here.
I think much further away, Eddie, but
yeah,
still,
much further away. Maybe, I don't know, somewhere here. Exactly.
There's just one positive thing out of the whole story, there's just one positive thing, and that's what I'm holding on and trying to feel better about myself, because I really lost sleep. I'm feeling really, really bad myself. But the good thing is that of all the certainty that most people had about the non-existence of such phenomenon, we are now even more 100% sure that such phenomenon does not exist. That's the only thing, right?
Yes.
That's the only thing good about it.
You're right, because if they have to make fake videos using green screen and other things, it's like that means it's not there's not anything to stand on. Like that theory has nothing to stand on.
And they have to pass laws prohibiting the people from getting there.
Yeah, and then scientifically, the 24-hour sun in Antarctica is impossible because that requires an axial tilt. And then by looking at the lights above us, we can see there is no axial tilt. Polaris stays in its spot, all the stars go around it, and there's no axial tilt, so the 24-hour sun would be impossible on the globe.
And the other thing,
Earth, it's impossible on the flat Earth too. So that's the good thing about it. We found out once for all. Like for me, it's a final experiment, really. It's once for all. It's really BS. There's no 24-hour sun.
Yeah. Can I tell you guys something funny? Okay.
Go ahead.
I came up with the nickname for the final experiment, okay? It's called Duffy's failure. Like Aries failure? But it's like in Aries failure, they were trying to prove the globe, and it ended up proving the Earth is flat. Just like with this final experiment, right? They're trying to prove the Earth is a globe, but they failed. So that's why I call the final experiment Duffy's failure.
But you know what?
Just a second here. Let me address this comment here. Teresa, I wish they would talk about Hanvey. Hanvey is a guy who's been making some videos trying to explain the 24-hour sun in Antarctica on the flat Earth. Teresa, the point is there is no 24-hour sun in Antarctica. What they are doing now is a movie. They are in a different location observing. They are looking north, looking at the sun coming from the east, going northwest. And they're going to pretend they are looking at the south, towards the south. There's no 24-hour sun in Antarctica. That's why we don't address. I like Hanvey. I've seen a couple of videos he's trying to explain, but there's no 24-hour sun in Antarctica, okay? Listen, Jaron would have to change the encyclopedias. This is the World Book Encyclopedia, 1958. Right here, you have in the Arctic, the period that sun never sets, but in the Antarctic Circle, you have 24 hours of daylight, but you don't have a 24 hours sun. If the guys were making history now, all these books would have to be rewritten. But we have over 100 scientists in Antarctica right now. None of them can produce a 24-hour sun video, right? So don't think there is a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. There is not. Okay, they are making a movie. All right.
Only if you fake it. There is a fake 24-hour sun, but there's no reality.
So someone is asking me if I think Jaron is flipped it. He has flipped a long time ago. I don't know if he has ever been a flat earther.
Exactly. He never flipped because he never was a flat earther.
He flipped back in 2016. That's when
Austin and Jaron started to publicly change over the summer. That's why I get this idea about the North Pole, like they were actually at the North Pole recording. Because if they did those videos during the summer, that's probably why Austin started looking sad and not being the same cool, confident self he always was for years. He changed this year just like Jaron started talking about stupid Home Depot Earth. That was over the summer, right?
Right.
He started saying flat earthers were stupid, right?
Yeah.
Because we understand that the Earth is flat and that whatever is happening in the sky is different.
Exactly.
Flat earthers. So he was publicly mocking flat earthers. So that happened over the summer, which was a propaganda blunder, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Definitely.
It's all mistakes.
They are absolutely desperate, aren't they? I mean, God.
Oh my God.
There is no 24 hours.
As far as filming it in the middle of summer up in Antarctica, in the Arctic, you got to be like talking about silly things like they were interacting with them live.
Right.
And what was this? If they went 10 degrees west, how would they make a difference?
I know. How did that help in any way? It doesn't make sense at all, does it?
Here's the big one,
they're
you
in
know.
a different place, then it doesn't work in another place.
Yeah.
Lost
But here's
brain
the big
cells
one: the
listening to
sun
those
goes
guys.
sun goes the opposite direction in the Arctic.
It's
is
just
not
that
It
it
is
has
not the real sun. It is an artificial sun, but the real sun is the artificial sun. And Jaron and Whitsitt have been replaced, but they are crazy. But they're also smart enough to fool us all.
Yeah.
So, and unless they were all walking backwards when they were walking around there,
Right.
And you know, it's just they couldn't have filled it in the Arctic.
But this is what happened. They had a trip. They walked backwards and then filmed it and showed it in reverse.
And how come they cleared out that one place where there's like almost nobody ever there?
And
just for them, my goodness.
Jaron has
They took him on a plane.
Jaron's produced hundreds of Flat Earth videos. He's done hundreds of Globebuster shows. He's spoken at Flat Earth conferences. He's even done some street activism. And they just get to say, oh, he's never been a proper Flat Earther. I mean, what would qualify you to be a proper one?
The same thing happened to Renty. I mean,
Agreeing with them.
You get thrown out of the cult if you say anything to cast doubt on it, don't you? You're immediately
just like
thrown out.
Scientology.
Out of the community because he went and touched the snow and looked up at the sky, and they're like, hey, we were friends with you all of this time, but because you went and thought or saw something we didn't agree with, we're all willing to throw our friendship away with you. I feel sorry I don't even know these people. I feel sorry for them. That's sad.
That's fine.
Okay.
They're basically SPs now.
Yeah. Yeah. SPs.
Do not feel sorry for Jaron. Jaron has started doing things. He is no longer a flat earther.
Yeah.
He's doing things.
Okay, a little more from Banjo now, or more specifically from the dark, twisted mind of Fake Flip.
Man, I'm feeling a bit nauseous inside. I'm feeling like I lost my sleep. I'm feeling bad. We're not dealing with people who believe science. We're not dealing with people like our family members, our friends who believe science. We're dealing with the liars themselves, guys. We're dealing with the people perpetrating the lie. We're dealing with the people who know very well what they're doing, and they're just perpetrating the lie, like straight in the face, like this.
Yeah.
And they're perverts.
And not even good liars. Not even good liars, bad liars. Terrible liars.
They used to be good liars when we were sleeping and when we were not aware. But they can no longer fool us anymore. They can fool people who are still sleeping, but they cannot fool the people who are awake. But we are not dealing with people who believe science. We're dealing with the writers of science. We're dealing with the people who write science and fool our families and our children. We're dealing with perverts. You can see the level of perversity. Really, really, you can see how far, all the lengths that these people go really far into their project. When they pull out a child's book from their luggage that they packed, so you can see that it was all premeditated. You can see that it was all meticulously well planned, and they put a child's book into their luggage, showing the levels of perversity of these people, and then telling bad time stories to the people who believe them, and mocking about it. You can see that we're not dealing with normal people, guys. We're dealing with psychopaths. It made me feel sick. Really made me feel very bad, guys.
And they make me feel mad. They don't make me feel sick. They make me feel angry. I'm mad. I want to do something. I want to go get those people. I don't want to. That's the reaction I have.
Their religion is this: they have faith in unseen curvature. They have faith in unfelt rotation. They have faith in axial tilt that does not exist. They have faith in evolution, right?
Yeah.
It's really not scary. In God, not in the Creator.
They're not.
But that's their religion, and their whole religion.
Eat the same things as we eat, guys. Okay, they probably don't eat the same. These people, they probably don't gather in the same places as we do. They don't frequent what we frequent. They probably gather every day in orgies with their own family members. Probably, they probably have sodomy among themselves with their own families.
That needs to go to the psych ward.
They feed on humans, right? They're parasites.
Please don't talk during the clips. Yeah, what a nutter, eh? Just...
Ugh, vile.
Yeah,
sorry,
psycho.
The thing is, he's probably the pervert who has those thoughts, and that's why he thinks other people have them. He's projecting.
I think so, yeah.
Yes. He's probably the fucking weirdo. And what's wrong with owning a child's book? What the hell?
I don't know. Does anyone know about that? He mentioned that a few times. What was it?
Yes, the gravity. What's his name? McToon brought out his gravity book.
What, Gravity for Babies or something, was it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Right.
Gravity for young people.
Right.
This week they're perverts, but according to their schedule, by mid-January they will be paedophilic Jewish atheist, child trafficking,
eating,
incestuous, communist,
baby eating,
liberal, communist.
Right. I mean, I edited it out, obviously, but he went on this long rant where he went in as he was just after that bit that we just saw. He started talking about the Hampstead hoax, which I've talked about before, right? Those two kids that, you know, a satanic panic type thing, you know. Yeah,
Jem, could you send me this link, please? The clip?
Probably at some point, yeah.
I'll appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Right, next, a bunch of flatties from a stream called Tinfoil Sombrero. This is a short setup for the next clip where Karen B gives them a bollocking.
Let's face it, this thing does not look good. None of it looks good. I mean, I'm wondering why the sun turned into a damn football shape for, I mean, there's a lot of things I'm wondering about, okay?
The difficult thing that we have to deal with is, like you'll have, what's his name? Duffy. Apparently he sent people down there like a few days prior. And I'm like,
months.
Like, you got,
months.
What was it? Months.
He said I've had people down in Antarctica for months.
Yeah. So it's like, you know what? That thing was spoiled from the
contaminated.
It was
absolutely.
It's like you can't do anything with that. And I mean, it's good that he told us, because just that off the rip, it's like, man, the whole thing is fucking spoiled.
Why not disclose that anyway?
But like when you get a live observation of the sun angles, where it's at, get a compass reading, that sort of thing, we can start playing around with azimuths and we start figuring out where we're seeing the sun versus where else. I think you're going to see sun observations around this place that don't even show. It's like everywhere. There's going to be dots all over, which I think
everybody's overthinking it.
Probably. But my landing of the plane is like there's going to be apparent positions of the sun all the hell over the place. Especially when you start doing azimuths and people looking up in the sky, figuring out, oh, the sun's over here, somebody else is over here, and we're gonna. I'm not selling out the AE projection. I think it needs some tweaks, but it certainly works for airline traffic, especially in the north, And so like we use that as a working model, whether it's right or not. If it needs to be shifted, it needs to be little things like that. But I don't think that thing's out the door. I think it's still okay. Because it does work for noon observations across the realm.
It works in the northern hemisphere. It works perfect. Like it works above the equator. It seems like it works.
So here we are on our team. Let's say that we've got Team Flat Earth and we've got Team such and such, Team Glober, right?
Right.
And we just sent 2 of our players in, 3 of our players in, whatever. They went in. and they were to make their play, right? And they totally fucked it all up and lost the game. Now, do we still, even though we like our quarterbacks, we like our players, we like our star players, are we still not going to say, hey, man, you really fucked that up, man?
Because it almost appeared, and maybe it's just me, it almost appeared as if they didn't have a plan. They didn't go there with any direction at all. They just showed up, and then it's like, oh, it's cold.
Yeah.
The sun's out. Like, all right, okay. Somebody brought
we-
up a really good point. Hey, did we do a distance experiment?
I got it, Alex. I'm doing it.
She's got it. She's got it. So
Right?
go ahead.
Like,
Sorry. Iron,
there
keep
were so
going.
many opportunities to do things, to do different things, to get different observations. Instead of course, we could answer questions. Like I know you and Saab were asking questions live to those guys, and they were giving you what they were getting. But even then, it's like, look, be like, listen, we have a script first, and then we could get to questions. Then it would be like, okay, these guys have a plan in hand, but there's no plan. And it looks like it was just shot from the hip. And I'm like, dude, you spend all that money, you spend all this time to go down there for this opportunity to do this stuff. And like, you're going to come back with stuff that's totally useless. You know what I'm saying? Or it might very well could be useless. I don't know, but whatever. That's me.
They all know best what should have been done now, don't they? They had 6 months to put forward things that they thought should be done. And none of them did. And now, oh, well, it doesn't count. If only they'd done this, it would have been okay.
Right.
Oh,
Backseat drivers.
The football when they saw the sun, and they should have flipped the script somehow. Understand the word script, in order to manipulate the information to prove to everyone that it was a flat Earth, and we're the disingenuous.
They are doing exactly that. I mean, you heard it there. I think people are overthinking it. It offers nothing at all. She didn't say all you need to do is this. You know, just I think people are overthinking it. I'm just going to fucking ignore it.
They fucked it up. They had no plan. They went down there and they didn't do a distance experiment, Jim.
Right.
What were they thinking?
I know a few of them have said
How dare
that.
they see the sun and say, "Oh, look, sun"? How dare they? Shame on them.
Okay.
And the AE map, yeah, it works fine in the northern hemisphere, but you know, it just doesn't work in the south. It needs tweaks. In other words, the AE map doesn't work.
Right.
It was quite funny
in the
because he
house.
did say it works in but by and large it works in the north or something along the lines. It didn't
Right.
say it works exactly. It's fraying at the edges, isn't it? Very slowly
Yeah.
fraying at the edges for everyone. Hilarious.
Okay, as promised, here is Karen B, and she is pissed off.
And that's why I would say it would probably be prudent also to be saving as much video resource and everything else as you possibly could to not put a drain on that battery in order to be able to stream.
Right, so why should they be wasting batteries live streaming for
I know.
24
Why
hours?
would they waste batteries by having chroma key turned on? That eats up a lot of
How's that a
resources.
waste-
Right
how's that
now,
a waste-
I'm
do
looking at a
you
meter.
ever
Hold on.
use you know what though? Do you know what it means to change your batteries, your camera settings? Like for me, I felt like it was completely understandable for them to be going through everything that they went through, all the hoops they just jumped through to go to Antarctica, and he takes and don't talk over me, and he takes his laptop down to Antarctica.
Hey, stop.
Yeah, please, come on.
See how hard that was?
Anyway, so they have to unpack their bag, repack their bag, they have to go through check-in. It's all special. Like everything about this trip is nothing like going to the north. And I feel like if everybody would just shut the fuck up and pay attention to what's going on, then you could take notes on all the things that are drastically different what it takes to go to the South Pole than it takes to go to the North Pole. Like nothing about what they're doing is the same as what it takes to go see the 24-hour sun in the North Pole. And don't you guys remember that on the globe it should be the fucking same? And it isn't. It's drastically different. Like, why aren't we paying attention to these details? Who fucking cares what the sun does in the sky? Hey, guess what? Anywhere you go in the realm, the sun revolves around you. It's fucking magic. Who cares? The earth measures flat. Water is flat and level. We can see too far. So I don't understand why everybody is freaking out about the sky. Like, some of us have been thinking about this for a while. Some of us started out watching the sun, like me. And I realized very early on that every single sky observation matches the globe. Every single one that I made matches the globe from 10 years ago. So I stopped doing that because it's Earth observations that show you that the Earth is flat. Nothing terrestrially tells us that the Earth is a globe. So why is everybody freaking out about this? I really don't get it.
It's not even, we understand.
What's the psyop? What's the fucking psyop?
Are you shitting me? They hadn't even come back yet, and it's all over Australian and New Zealand news. Flat Earth.
Meanwhile, they
Did you expect any different?
No, we didn't.
That's not a psyop.
That's the psyop.
That's not a
That's part of
psyop.
it. Yes, it is.
That's not a
Especially
psyop.
when
It's a setup.
Especially when the
It's
media
not a
gets
psyop.
involved.
It's a setup.
Absolutely part of a
Okay,
psyop.
It's not a psyop.
Here we go.
Y'all
Bring it
should have
all back
known.
down. Bring it all
No
back
yelling.
down, guys.
Do we have to play
Bring
a
it all
really
back down.
fucked up video so that we can like chill
How
the
it,
video
it's
out?
a psychological operation is when they produce something that is not real to make you think it is real. So do you think the 24-hour sun is not real?
I don't know. I haven't seen
think
anything that would give me credible. Like I said,
So
I'm in
you
the
don't
same boat
trust-
as I was before, right?
So you don't think that Jaren and Austin
I
are
took
telling the
Darren
truth?
and Austin out of it. I'm not worried about personalities.
Okay,
I'm looking
now
at what
that's
did I
another thing.
receive so far.
Okay, Saab, that's another thing I want to address with you because I've been watching streams over the last few days and I've seen you join every stream and spew the same bullshit on every single stream. So let me just ask you this. You keep saying repeatedly, my emotions aren't in it. It doesn't matter if you trust this person, blah, blah, blah. Well, the Globies brought back the data. So if you're not emotionally invested, shut up! I'm not done! I'm not fucking done! I'm not done, you fucking loudmouth asshole Chong looking motherfucker! Let me finish! So anyway, if that is what you feel, if you don't feel emotionally involved to trust Jaren or trust Austin to bring back valid information, and you're like, oh, the emotions aren't in it, I just want data. Well, then why don't you trust the data from the Globies? If your emotions aren't in it, then you shouldn't even fucking care. Oh, it's not about who you trust or who you like. Well, if it's not about who you trust or who you like, the Globies brought back the data. Do you not trust that data?
Do you think that I based that off the personalities? No, I based it off of what I saw, Karen.
So everybody from both sides is saying there's a 24-hour sun. So what the fuck is your problem?
I don't know that the people, listen, I'm looking at the same shit that I'm seeing than before we went, right? Trust me, bro.
Why are you looking at the same shit before we went? Things are different. Now we've gone.
Why are they different? Because a couple of guys that went down there and said that I'm on the flat earth side.
No, it wasn't a couple of guys. There were 10 people. There was a whole entourage. A bunch of people went. 50 cameras. Remember, you said it your fucking self. Oh, but it's not real.
1909.
Dude, I'm
There's
so
been people
over
here
this
since
old
1909.
retard fucking Chong motherfucker, dude. Seriously, you
So
are
know
dumb.
So do you know
you
what-
are dumb.
Get a hold of your fucking fifis a little bit there, witchy poo. All right?
Oh my!
Seriously.
Okay, time the fuck out.
You're a
All
fucking
right, guys.
idiot.
Let's
You're
take
a
it.
fucking idiot.
Let's take a chill pill here, guys.
You're in the fucking tank.
Let's just take a chill pill
What
here, guys.
fucking tank?
Like a military tank?
No, the tank of misinformation.
Oh, right, because you know so much, fucking Chong.
Dude.
Shut the fuck up.
Fucking
Like, you're not
pulling
even
it on
thinking
me. I
clearly.
ain't pulling
You
it
go
up.
on every stream, spewing the same fucking bullshit.
So, what about it?
So,
you go on the same. Look at you. What are you, like 12?
subscribe to my channel.
Wow,
I
you
go
already
against Jaren. I know
You
truth
lost.
because
I've been
blah,
going
blah,
against
blah.
Jaren.
Nah, man,
I've been
Jared-
going against
Jared
Jared.
went against everybody else.
You're
man.
an ignorant.
I'm
fucking
just so
piece of
tired
crap.
of these
You went
fucking
against
retards, you
everybody
guys.
else.
This
this
is
is
why.
not- this
This
is
is why I
actually
stopped
not-
You're
doing
ignorant as fuck if you say
conferences
that,
because
I'm gonna have
flat
therapy
earthers are
about this.
conspiratarded fucking retards. You're fucking
No, we're not. No, we're not.
retards.
No, we're not.
Retards.
conspiratorial.
Yes, you
We've
are.
got- no,
you
we've got-
are a
we've got
retard,
people-
and you're a retard, and you're a fucking retard, and you're a fucking retard. You're cool, but you're a fucking retard, and you're a fucking retard. You're cool, but you're a fucking retard.
Okay, guys. All right, here we
Yo,
go. Now that you got it all out of everybody got it all out of them.
So now we can
We're
all take
we're
a deep
clear.
breath.
We're all out of it.
Light all or something, man.
We're all out of it.
For real.
It's fine.
Everybody, just chill. Oh, we lost Karen. Shit.
It's beautiful to see, isn't it?
What's the best thing ever?
Amazing. It's just like your server, Gem.
That was
It's not often I
great.
agree with Karen, but she's right on.
I know. I was cheering her on.
Commented
Can
here.
you
The thing is, though,
Can you imagine?
I don't know if you noticed, but there were 6 people there besides her. She called 7 people retards and 2 people cool. So
Yes. Also, it's amazing because she used to grift from those retards and make a living from
Right.
those retards.
yeah,
They all did.
you'll see
It
her
sounded
doing
like
that.
she
You'll
was
see her
ready to
doing that
die
in a few clips.
with her Jared friend.
You'll see her doing that in a few clips' time. We've got one from her live stream, just her on her own while she does her makeup.
Her and Jaren both call them
Jim, there's a
retards.
smashing quote there. Every single sky observation matches the globe, so I stopped doing it.
Right.
You can't.
It's
You can't beat that, can you?
I
You
know.
You can't top that.
It's unbelievable. I decided I wanted the Earth to be flat, and I was so arrogant. I thought I was going to find something in the sky that had been missed by all of humanity until I came along. I didn't find anything. This didn't tell me I was wrong. I just ignored it. And you'll see in a bit. Ignoring.
And then she called everyone else a retard.
Ignoring is what she does best.
Well, it's like she's straddling the fence post right now and rocking forth. Okay, she's confused.
No,
But
she's
I
not.
honestly kind of respect the fact that she was ride or die with her friend. She's like, fuck all of you guys. My friend, you don't get to just betray him like that.
Well,
I feel
reserve
like that's
judgment.
what
Yeah, she's still a
she was
retard
doing.
too.
Yeah. You may remember some time ago we featured a Flat Earth protest march in Ontario, which was attended by about 6 people, including its organiser, King Nico, who, like so many Flat Earthers, has video editing superpowers.
We are live from Crusaders of the Resistance headquarters. I am King Nico, and we are currently exposing the final experiment, Antarctica. A bunch of Freemasons traveled to an area which was supposedly Antarctica and somehow filmed a 24-hour sun, which is pretty much impossible on both models, the heliocentric and the geocentric model. So one of the main flat earthers that was on this expedition is Jeranism. He was also a part of the Behind the Curve Netflix movie documentary that came out. So we got Jeranism here. So he is one of the people. He's all over the news right now. World's most famous flat earther admits he is wrong. So flat earthers realize they are wrong after traveling to Antarctica to prove Earth isn't round in hilarious footage. So Jeranism, 164,000 subscribers. Notice how many videos he has posted. 665 videos. That's just one away from 666. And remember, I'm a video editor. I do AI. I manipulate video footage all day, like all the time. So I know what to look for. I have an eye for this stuff. And while watching some of these videos, I immediately saw that there's a separation between the sky and the floor, which is the staged setting here, where snow looks like it's been brought in. And there's a line here that goes pretty much all the way around the setting. So the sky, I'm saying, is not a green screen, but is actual LED screens, because they're standing inside of a sphere. So here's the sphere in Las Vegas, and the screens can show images on the outside and also on the inside. Again, I'm not saying they were in Vegas. I'm just saying that there's a sphere in Vegas that pretty much shows the capabilities of the technology. And yes, they say it costs $2.3 billion, but come on now, they can put a price on anything and say it costs that much just to make us think that it's impossible for us to recreate. But in all reality, it's just a bunch of LED screens put together in a sphere. And even in this footage, I can see that the sky is not real. The floor is real, but their whole surrounding is LED screen. And I understand why people are saying green screen, but how can you perfectly green screen out a whole sky unless you're in a warehouse, in a sphere, in a stage setting? So Whitsitt and Jaren are counter opposition. Here's another shill Freemason. I've been exposing all of these clowns. So yeah, I cannot stand this guy, David Weiss. He is a complete shill. He was on the Alex Jones show. These people, they're all Masons. They have a look. You know, I can see it right away. They have a look. They have a demeanor. It's because of all the rituals and all the sodomite orgies they perform. That's how Lucifer wants his children, is in the image of the beast. So again, I've been going through the Twitterverse to find, because it's viral, it's everywhere, it's worldwide right now. So the shadows are not right. Moving black, impossible black shadow and the blur section above it. So again, every aspect of this expedition has been broken down by not just myself, but many others out there have picked this apart, and it's got way too many holes. So this guy is saying that it's chroma screen because he sees what I see. He can see a line, a perfect line going all the way around the setting. And that's what I saw. And I'm like, what the hell? That doesn't make sense. And then you can start to see that the sky has when their hands are in front of the sky, it's got like a blur. So this guy's doing all his exposure settings, brightness, contrast to catch them, right? It's all being done. So they forgot to add in the camp. This is massive fraud. So this is the first half of the video. So as you know, when they're landing, so they potentially could have landed in a real spot where the camp is, but then went off to a studio that was basically a replicated version of the camp, which had screens all around that could fake a 24-hour sun, because in real life at the camp, without screens and green screens, you wouldn't be able to see a 24-hour sun, because then the rest of the world would be in complete darkness. So the camp has completely disappeared in the 24-hour footage, which means that the setting changed. Even though the background looks similar and same to the real life place, it's on video. It's in a studio. Where's the good one? Chroma key confirmed. Why would they? So look at this. This guy has put the chroma key on, and notice how it chroma keys out the sky perfectly and leaves a perfect line separating the ground. Unbelievable. And like I said, this can only happen if it's a green screen. So he's able to luma key out the whole entire sky effortlessly. And let me tell you, to green screen out and chroma key out things is not that simple. So there's some shady business going on, which means, like I said, the floor is real, but from this line upwards is all LED 4K or 8K screens. And if they're going to pull off this deception, they're going to use the best screens possible. So there are two settings, a real spot and a studio, to capture the fake 24-hour sun. And look, the mountains could be real here because now the chroma is keeping them in and only chroma keying out the sky. But in the top video, the mountains are gone. Unbelievable. Here we go. Some more shill action from Duffy and Dave and Whitsitt. I'm sick of these clowns. I've been telling you people for years now that they were all Masons, all sodomites, all pretend. And everyone's like, but they're telling the truth. They believe the same thing I believe. I'm like, that's the whole point. And now because they've got you under their little finger wrapped around, They take you to Antarctica and build you up for years with 665 videos, right, Jaren? And then the 666 video, he's like, oh my God, I was wrong. We captured the 24-hour sun. That means the globe is real. That means that the universe is real. That means that there's potentially life out there. We're not the only ones here. And boom, cue the UFO invasion. Boom, boom, boom. It's all by design. They need to crush and break down or obliterate, as Simon Dan is going out, posting all these damn videos saying that the flat Earth is obliterated. So this right here is set in a studio. And as that account on Twitter said, where did the camp go? The camp just disappeared. Where's all the freaking tents and equipment that was supposed to be there? So they obviously moved into the studio to record this and went back to the real life location because look, there's nothing there in the background. There's a portable they could easily bring into the set. If you two had a bigger stage than that, right? The camp disappeared. Where is the camp? We've just done a full 360 inside of a sphere. Unbelievable. We've got them, guys. We have them. It's done. They can't get away with this. They're done.
So, that was an idiot who hadn't got a fucking clue what he was talking about for any of it, wasn't he?
Another dummy.
I showed him.
I mean, chroma key, very easy to do on a sky. You just select a color range from the blue to the whitey blue at the bottom, and it'll just make it all transparent. I mean,
and there's a horizon in every direction.
It's like 3 clicks or something to do. I mean, it's nothing.
What he fails to recognise is even if you're in a dark room and you put up a picture of the sky with the sun on it on your LCD screen, and you put something in front of it, and you show the sun move across the screen on your video, okay, right? None of this produces a fucking shadow.
Right.
Yeah, but can we just ask, there's a guy who was actually there inside the green screen place. MC Toon, what happened?
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, welcome, Toon. I didn't notice you. I'm sorry.
It's all good. I was on a live stream with Nico a couple days ago.
Oh, right.
And on Drunk Debunk. And I played the video that I took riding the snowmobile from the main camp over to that what we called halfway point, because it's halfway around the marathon.
Right.
And he didn't have much to say about that video.
Yeah.
But don't you think the summary of this is that here's some videos of the Arctic midnight sun, and they're sparse. We agree. No, they're all fake. Oh, well, hang on, you've got shit video forensic skills, so we're going to go and take some actual video and bring it back to you. And the moment you get it back to there it is. What do? They carry on with their shit video forensic skills like we just seen. It's never going to stop, is it?
No, I don't think it is. Are you surprised in any way? Are you surprised by any of the reactions at all, Toon, or is it what?
No, not at all.
Right.
It shows how committed they are to their lie. That
right.
All of them are happy to just step forward and commit to a big that they are lying. Right?
Yeah.
That's what's happening, because they haven't looked at even scratched the surface of the content we have.
Right. That's what I see going on. Exactly that. Just people, throwing caution to the wind and going, "Fuck it, I'll just bullshit."
Yep. Can you confirm, MC Tune, are you a Freemason?
No. I actually didn't know hardly anything about Freemasons until I got involved in this, but I do know a couple Flat Earth Freemasons.
Oh, right. Wow.
Yep.
Exactly.
Okay, we've got lots more to come. Owen Benjamin was happy in his arrogant ignorance. Here he is chatting to Whitsit in Antarctica.
And the false binary, I mean, I really want to hammer this home because I can see flat earthers spiraling and just trying to desperately cope. It does not mean the globe is true. It doesn't mean anything except one flat earth model isn't true. And I know that there's a a drive to immediately come up with a solution. Like, oh, it must be this. That's the whole reason I don't like NASA. I don't like narcissistic responses, you know? And, you know, because Adam Green is really, really lighting up Twitter with his flurf mockery. And it doesn't change the fact there's no evidence of a spin or a curve, like none. But old Weiss has to update the model because the whole purpose of a model is prediction. So if you say, if you go to Antarctica, there will be no 24-hour sun, like he said that, and there is a 24-hour sun. That doesn't mean it's a spinning ball. In fact, it just means that there's something different, and you just have to acknowledge that. You can't just immediately be like, but here's why I'm still right. That's gay. Like, that's the whole reason that oh, here we go. Whitsit's here. All right, he's in Antarctica. Oh, shit, this is like Christmas. Here he is. Whitsitt, gets it. How are you, brother?
Good, what's up, brother?
Dude, tell me all about Antarctica. I've been dreaming about it for like 7 years.
Dude, it's incredible, bro. It is legitimately incredible. When we flew over Antarctica, it was the best part, actually. It was super cold and you can't do much. But when you fly over it, dude, it's insane, bro. Like, there's no questions. Got any questions about a crater? Fly over Antarctica, bro. It's that pretty. It's incredible.
Like, tell me what it looks like. Like, is there a big wall? Is there mountains? Like, tell me.
Yeah, so we actually flew over the peninsula entrance. So obviously it's a little higher than the water, but it's not the big ice shelves. It's one of the main entrances they always fly over. So that was the most disappointing part, probably, because they flew us over that little peninsula entrance. And then you fly in just tons of water and ice, dude. Any human that tried to trek that is such a legend, like insane. But yeah, there are tons of mountains everywhere we're at. I try to show you. So like everywhere you look, right, just snowy mountains everywhere. And then we were in this little plane right here earlier, and they flew us through the mountains, and it's crazy, bro. It's super cool. So it's just it's just as far out as you can see. It looks super flat. Everything's ice, you know, and then it just rises up, and then you just have nothing but mountains everywhere that we've looked. So it's crazy.
So how are you feeling about people's reactions? Because you could see a sun for 24 hours, right?
Oh yeah, like no questions asked. Yeah, people are acting really gay.
Yeah, they're being gays.
That's so gay. So, I mean, a lot of people are saying that we faked it and all this goofy stuff, and I'm like, well, I feel like that's kind of you admitting that in your mind you jumped over to this other like model and internalized it, and since this doesn't match with what you thought, you're freaking out. So I must be now a Mason or something or whatever. You loved me last week, but now I'm fake, you know. So I think that part's super lame. Obviously, I know some really cool flat earthers that were excited I was going and had my back the whole time. So it's kind of split, but people were freaking out. And I guess I watched your video and you said it really well, which is that this doesn't all of a sudden make the spinning globe real, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
It's like, yeah, it's just that this conception that was popularized, I think maybe even handed to us. You know, you got the AE map just handed to you. It isn't correct. Like what the depiction that you see on Dave's app, it clearly isn't that simple. And I think it's actually naive of us to think that like the creators, like heavens, are that simple. But I didn't think there was a 24-hour sun here. I've said for years I didn't think there was one. There was like no footage, and I was wrong. That's the other part that's super gay is people think it's like such a big deal to be wrong. It's not that.
Bro,
big of
I
a
got
deal.
way
Like,
more. I got so much respect for you, man, because that's always what got me into the truth world. Is like, I don't like the narcissistic personality disorder of like, if you're proven wrong, you immediately come up with a way you're still right. That's what I don't like about NASA, where it's like, oh, it's refraction. Or, oh, it must be blah, blah, blah. And you're like, maybe. I'm seeing that with flat earthers where it's like, oh, Whitsit's been bought. Or sun simulator. Or I'm like, but no, though. But, you know, maybe. Kind of like maybe every time you can see too far, it's a curve exactly how the globe needs. It's like, that's the whole reason. And so it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that there's a spin. It doesn't mean there's a globe. All it means is that model isn't accurate. If there was evidence of a spinning ball, I would admit it in less than 5 seconds. I swear to God. There's none so far. None. It's all gaslighting and ridiculous. But the ball model can predict some shit. It also can't predict. And now the flat model, as Mr. David M. Weiss, just definitely did not predict something, and that's a fact. And so let's not be gay.
Well, I think, this is what a lot of them are doing. It only debunks one map. But like I keep saying, I think they're stuck with something like that map. If they're agreeing that it's possible to circumnavigate the Earth east to west, and none of them deny that, everything's got to be laid out in some sort of a circle. And so you're stuck with something like an AE map. But I don't think any of them have really thought it through, and they don't want to, do they? They just, it doesn't matter.
Well, they're going with the route now, saying that the AE map was handed to them nefariously.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, hang on a minute. Where did we get this from? Maybe this is part of this whole pantomime.
Right.
We've been using it fucking everywhere for well over a decade and a half.
And it was part of their argument, right? That they use this all over. Even the United Nations do it. It's hidden in plain sight and all of this crap, right?
Yeah.
So.
PSYOP.
Jim, do you think it's a possibility they haven't thought this out for real?
I think that might be the case.
If you've got any question about there being a creator, then simply fly over a fuck ton of frozen water.
Yeah. Okay.
I was enjoying watching the guy at the bottom's facial expressions change and trying to and just watching him go through the different stages of grief while having that conversation, trying to cope with the information he was being given, especially because the Botox issue where his forehead isn't wrinkling.
Well, and Jaren's concession where he says we were wrong gets played over and over and over. Play this one, the Whitsitt. We were wrong. That's right. Why is this just? That's the first I've seen of that one.
Right. A little from the Temple of Oakley now, and the disciples, as always, are anxious to suck Oakley's cock. Listen carefully though, because in our next clip, Oakley will catch Oakley in a lie.
What about any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
I think we're going to need independent variables for those. We don't have anything.
So no science, then, for the globe? Well, there was me thinking, didn't we just have a final experiment, like the coup de grace, the death of flat Earth? Wasn't that called an experiment?
Oh, that's just pseudoscience, though.
Yeah. I asked Will Duffy when he left a message on one of my videos what is independent and dependent variable to formulate a hypothesis for the outcome of his experimentation he's claiming to do. He didn't have an answer. He went on to claim that he contacted me about a free ticket that didn't exist, having never actually spoken to me at all or offered me anything. That's what frauds do, though, eh? What can you do? Any evidence that you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline?
Negative, and that's the funny thing about these people in Antarctica. They keep talking about measurements and heights of things, and they're just not comprehending it.
Yeah, I put that in one of the videos from a flatty that I am actually subscribed to. Fisherman in a Box. He was putting various different aspects from... It might have been Fisherman in a Box, it might have been someone else. I can't remember exactly who it was. Either way, if it's you, make a note in the comments section and correct me, I'm so sorry. But there was a flatty that had got involved, I believe, by discussing or having a debate with Will Duffy, and he was suggesting something that I had actually seen 10 years ago with reflections off the dome creating, I think they call it caustic coffee cup now, whatever the hell they call it, I don't care. The guy was suggesting that he could model it with the AE map below it and that it all works fine. Now, in many ways, fine, perfectly, your speculation's perfectly reasonable if that's what you want to do. I'm not going to decry anybody their speculation. But this particular dude was saying, some of the information that we've gathered thus far from Antarctica looks suspect with respect to a globe, we'll start studying the angles, the elevation angles. And as soon as he said it, I'm like, yeah, any acquisition of informational data with measurements will be with respect to a flat Earth. It is the only way you can measure anything. You know what I mean? Or maybe this is me deflecting away with measurements, what with all the guns that we need to talk about down there and all. Did we do all the housekeeping questions, by the way? I'm getting a little bit distracted here. I want to do all of them. Did I cover them all?
I think we did. We even got the pitch data.
I had 2 answers. Just one. Did we cover them all?
Yes, I believe so. We even got pitch data and everything.
Surely there was something about the Antarctic sun in there. That's been a housekeeping question for years, hasn't it?
It's never been a housekeeping question.
Oh,
so I don't know why everybody's coming to us.
No, can't be right. Toon told his audience that I've been talking about Antarctica for years. Nay, talking about the guns that aren't down there for years. Surely it's a housekeeping question, because that's the stuff we, quote, always talk about. Like, on a daily basis, quite literally. So it must be in there, Neil. We do absolutely ask people where are the guns in housekeeping, don't we, Neil?
No, if anything, we're the ones that do not talk about it and decried it from the beginning.
Yes, indeed. A couple of people...
Nathan, anyone that watches your show knows that you haven't said anything about where's the guns in over 10 years. So it's ridiculous.
In the context itself of the 10 years ago comment, I mean, I think it's me sharing someone else's video on Facebook or something along those lines. Now, I had to have somebody contextualise it for me in the comment section because I couldn't fathom what it's about. I can't place what I'd be talking about. But from what I can glean, it's just me doing it, remember, I'm sharing someone else's video, and the context of that video is what's described in my comment. I.e., if you watch that video that I'm sharing on Facebook, now I could be wrong about this, like I say, it's not me that's trawled through this. I'm not spending months and months trying to find a 10-year-old comment to discredit me with a straw man with. But there we go. I mean, if you actually want the context, that's what it seems to be. Me sharing a video and saying, this is what's in the video, and detailing it. So it's about ice walls, and it's about azimuthal equidistant projections when I first came to this subject 10 years ago. Now, subsequent to that, I've interviewed somebody that went down there, and the context of the guns comment, if you want to know that, again, this isn't me, this is someone pointing it out to me. Talking about if you try and go anywhere without permission, not just Antarctica, but Antarctica more so, because of the Antarctic Treaty. Therefore, if you just try and go down there and explore willy-nilly, you're going to be stopped. That's the point of the stopped at gunpoint comment. Which is absolutely the case as far as I am concerned. Now I've had it contextualised for me. But when you just throw in something that you've made a comment about when sharing a video 10 years ago, you're like, what the hell are you talking about? But when you say I haven't said it, no, the words have not crossed my lips. But they might be on a Facebook share for a video that isn't mine. But, you know, take that as you will. If you've been deeply offended by me sharing a video 10 years ago and making comment about whether or not you'll be turned away if you try and go to Antarctica. Not by the way, on a guided tour. Yeah? Or not if you're Robert Shortman and a plumber down there. I mean, that would be obvious to anybody who watched my stuff 10 years ago. But if you didn't watch my stuff and you just solely came across that comment and nothing else 10 years ago, then there is a solution to your problem. Now, this is tried and tested, no less. So if you're deeply aggrieved by the fact that I shared that video and talked about being turned away at gunpoint, then there is a solution. All you need to do is go down to Antarctica and scream my name at Dave McKeegan. Then you'll be feeling much better about it. There's your solution.
Well, I think what people are
Nathan,
saying
we've
is
got a
from
reply from Mr. Cheswick. Sorry.
Woo!
You got turned away at gunpoint?
I did.
What people are saying is that you said at one time that a 24-hour sun will not work on a flat Earth. I never heard you say that personally, so I can't.
No, someone showed me a video where I think I'm interviewing Robert Shortman at the time, where I'm going over what is and isn't possible based on his testimony. I think there is actually material out there of me saying you can't have a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Now, okay, either way, if I had or hadn't said it 10 years ago, it still wouldn't make any difference to our argumentation. Now, if someone wants to lie and say that's been Nathan's rhetoric for 10 years, it hasn't. Just go and listen to any show. Housekeeping questions are what we have discovered on our journey through this subject. If you want to hold me to what is perceivably a 10-year-old claim that you say I have made about there being no sun in Antarctica, oh, do you want my humble pie? Oh, no worries. Oh, I was wrong. So wrong 10 years ago. Anyway, if you've come along and you want to know what the dealio is with the Antarctic observation, it is no different to what we were saying before it, and I might as well reiterate it now. It's based in a fallacy, one of which I can drop because the flat earthers have been proven wrong with their azimuthal equidistant globe projection. So I won't even reiterate that because it's not worth it anymore. But the globers fallacy is to affirm the consequent. If I assume I travel antipodal, then I will observe a 24-hour sun. I observe a 24-hour sun, therefore I arrived antipodal from when I began? No. So that's the affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy that we've been detailing for about 12 months. Nothing's changed. Doesn't prove anything. Meanwhile, if you want to actually use the sun, you can use it for navigation. You can plot ground positions with it. Yeah, that's how the maps are made. That's how the globe was made. For these guys to reify it into a model that they can put themselves antipodal with respect to northern positions. It's like northern, a direction with respect to a plane. You're going to call south the bottom of a ball? No, idiots. But there we go. We've been saying exactly the same thing before they went, now, and during the time they were down there. As a result, when we counteract their begging the question, affirming the consequent fallacy with actual measurements, they rage and scream into the abyss of Antarctica about where are the guns. It's like, all I did was ask him what about his measurements that he made? The ones that he made on a flat Earth with angles to stars?
Such a fucking liar, innit? God, and I don't know how anyone bears to listen to him. He's awful.
I can't understand it either.
But then most people say I sound like him, so, you know.
Well,
I think you're him. I'm talking to him right now.
He has a very, very increasingly narrowing cohort of regulars. I mean, if I hear him say, begging the question, affirming the consequence fallacy again, I might fucking explode.
Yeah, it's just so ridiculous, isn't it?
There's so little meat on the bone with him these days. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Right.
He looks as emaciated. He looks as emaciated in real life as his verbiage is online.
You notice how he referred to the flat earthers, though, as if he isn't one of them.
There's every chance he isn't. There's every chance he's just some monstrous fucking pantomime to make money that he's been engaging in as a second-rate actor for 10 years.
Right.
It's quite possible. He is an empty, witless soul.
What do you reckon, Toon? You were featured quite heavily in that. What? Any thoughts?
Yeah, well, he got caught in a lie, and now he's got to backtrack, obviously. His interview with Robert Shortman was a lie. He pushed Shortman into lying. He affirmed over and over Shortman's lie. He also puts words in our mouth because he's claiming that we say this proves the Earth is a globe, and of course there is no proof in science. We constantly say that. He's the one that says that there's proof in science, not us.
Right.
And so we say, no, this is evidence for the globe, and it's a falsification of flat Earth. And but he won't have that argument. He ignores that, the real argument, and instead puts into our, tries to assert that we're saying that we're concluding proof, this formal logical fallacy, affirming the consequent thing. Of course, he's the one doing that. It's, every accusation is a confession. He's the one claiming, using, and affirming the consequent fallacy that all flat Earth, all measurements are flat Earth angle measurements.
Absolutely,
that's
isn't
the
it?
actual. Yeah.
I just can't.
100%.
I just can't see why he doesn't see that. But I guess.
Oh, he does.
He does.
He does. He's playing his part. He's acting, and the thing to be amazed at is his ignorant, dumb followers that believe him. That's the thing to be amazed at, right? Brian's logic and all the idiots on his panel and Flatzoid and all of his patsies there that are not smart enough to realize that all of the things that he's accusing us of doing is his playbook.
Right. It is exactly like that, isn't it? And they are just so pathetic where they do that. You know, they have to play out this little act with the housekeeping questions. Oh, for that, we would need independent variables, and we don't have any. You know, it's just so lame, isn't it? Just, you know, you're supposed to be grown men, and you're suckling at the teat of a failed actor on YouTube.
It's perfectly borne out in those videos you showed of him doing that talk somewhere, you know, with the overhead projector.
Right.
He couldn't control the audience.
Yeah.
And he got to the point where he goes, oh, well, you can only measure an angle off a flat surface, and after we've got that angle, we calculate the GP, and we work out where we are. And then people go, oh, well, hang on. Let's discuss that extra bit.
Yeah.
When we talk about the angle and the linear relationship to this on the ground. No. That's irrelevant, because at that point, most of the morons have bitten on the hook. So you don't have to, you know, don't introduce things that are actually potentially dangerous to the conversation. Let's just go, well, you can't measure an angle off of, it must be a flat surface. You can't, every time you measure an angle, you measure it off a flat surface, don't you? That's good enough for his audience. That's enough. Pull on the reins. Leave it there.
It was a great moment when he did that, because he was getting cross with the guy who organised it for not muting the guy. There was no reason at all to mute him other than he was asking Nathan uncomfortable questions. And then afterwards, Nathan fell out with him. Sent him these tests telling him he should have controlled his audience and all that. It just shows how you know, how sensitive he is to his stupid ideas. A couple of super chats very quickly. Bo Nielsen says, Sort is a complete asshole this year too. Happy solstice. And Timbo Turtle says, great to hear your show live for a change. Yes, you are Oakley, but without the mute button. Well, I wouldn't have said that. Okay, a little more Oakley now. Not from 10 years ago, but from just 6 months ago.
Hi Nathan, I would like to bring a topic that is going kind of popular nowadays. So if you have a free time, so we can discuss that.
I should cancel my weekend for what?
No, like there is a guy like who took the initiative. Like he's kind of popular in the globe Earth side. His name is Duffy, so he took the initiative to send 24 flat earthers and 24 globe earthers to Antarctica to observe the 24-hour sun in the summer solstice this December. And globe side, they took like he's giving some kind of points if any of those 24 people, if they are inviting him to his channel, or if they are going there, or if they are going some kind of suggestion, then he's giving 1 point. So globe side got 6 or 7 points, but flat earthers are still at 0. So I would like, so can you like invite him here, so like we can even open our account and we can get 1 point. So, and it's a good experiment. I'm a flat earther, so I really know like there is no 24-hour sun. And if we go, like if a good flat earther like you or some popular flat earther go there, then it's like win. It's the biggest win for our flat earthers.
Is it?
So
no, that shows you're a loser. When you show up there, you lose.
We've covered this, and I've I haven't contacted him. I've replied to him after he contacted me proactively in one of my videos. So the final experiment guy left a message for me that completely ignored all points raised in the video directly addressing his quasi-experiment. And there was a series of questions put to him by me. That is to say, number 1, how do you respond to the fact we've pointed out the affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy that your quasi-experiment is claimed to be? Number 2, if you still stand by it being an experiment, what are the independent, dependent and control variables and null? And number 3, what about the fact that we've pointed out that Earth is measured flat with the new worlds, which was our example put as a response to this claim that we somehow need to go down to Antarctica? No, we don't. This world surrounded in mystery isn't necessary when we've already navigated the world flat to find the new worlds. So if the final experiment guy wants to respond to me and answer those questions, specifically, why are you using and affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy and calling it an experiment? 2, if you do, in your insanity, believe it is an experiment, what are the independent, dependent, and control variables along with a null? And I forgot my third one. What was the third one again? I forgot the third one already.
Well, the third one,
Yeah,
I
the
think,
third one,
should
like,
be how does the elevation angle of the sun?
Oh, no, my third
yeah.
one was New Worlds. So as it's an Antarctica thing, I've immediately tied it to, well, no, my argument when it came to criticising Dave Weiss, for example, when he was out talking to somebody about Antarctica. I think it was the guy that ended up humiliating them at one of the conferences, nevertheless. That's a pattern that seems to repeat itself. Anyway, my argument was, no, why are we talking about Antarctica? It's shrouded in mystery, and we've got people who were resident on the New Worlds after colonisation. And how did we find them? Flat. How do we navigate them to them? Flat. How do we chart them and survey them once we were on them? Flat. How do we find our way home? Flat. Well, that's enough proof for me. I don't need Antarctica for anything.
No, but I think that observation can falsify one model, either globe or the flat, because we cannot explain if the sun is going behind our head and going a circle.
You're not listening.
Stop interrupting him.
Sorry.
And on the globe Earth, if the sun is going to set, and so there is no explanation for the globe Earth. And for the flat Earth model, I don't see any kind of explanation. Like if we are going to a point in Antarctica, just imagine people are going to different points in Antarctica, so they are observing sun going behind them, behind their head. It's circling over their head for more than 24 hours, the real sun, not a reflection. Then no explanation.
And how does that prove something? What is it proving?
It's false dichotomy, first of all.
Yeah, it's got two models. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. He said we've got your model versus our model. We'll come to that. But I don't know what side of the fence you're on, and I don't care. What does that prove? Let's say, I'll take it as read. It completely contradicts a first-hand testimony from a man who spent 18 months down there that I interviewed 9 years ago, called Robert Shortman. He spent 18 months in Antarctica. There was no 24-hour sun for him. Now, that's first-hand account that you can go and check out on Confessions of an Antarctic Plumber on my channel. It's my most popular video. Well, okay, let's say I disregard his testimony and say, fine, there's an assertion that there is, and maybe things have changed. And there is a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Okay, let's just say there is. And what does it prove, and how does it prove it?
What's the explanation over the, like, just imagine we observe a 24-hour sun, then all the globe will come over our head and tell us, like, explain how it's working on the flat Earth, because the sun is on the tropics, and you should see that arcing, not going behind your head if you are on the Antarctica. So it's completely, it's I don't have any explanation, but like we cannot ignore that fact. Like this is kind of a very big experiment.
No, I can actually ignore it. I mean, you say ignore that fact. I've got first-hand testimony that isn't the case, but fact or otherwise, speculation or otherwise, I can just ignore it. Unless someone comes up and says, this is how it proves something. Now, what we've had so far is an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy, claimed to be an experiment, and then a hustle to get a load of people to go down and affirm the consequent. Now, we've had this before with Netflix. Now, if this ends up blowing up to be something the size of Netflix, with a whole bunch of dipshit flat earthers going down to Antarctica to affirm the consequent with some priest, then more power to them. This is now the second time we have covered this. It doesn't qualify as an experiment. It's an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy, and we've already got examples of new worlds being discovered with flat processes to discover them.
Sorry, I should have made that one a bit shorter, really, shouldn't I? But anyway, you heard him debunk himself twice there, because at the beginning he said he talked about how Duffy had contacted him and he'd interacted with him, and in the previous video, which is more recent, he said that Duffy had claimed to have contacted him, but he never had. And then, of course, you heard him talking about Robert Shortman 2 or 3 times there, and in the more recent video, he claimed he hadn't mentioned it for 10 years. So I just thought I'd put that in.
For anybody who's interested, going down to Antarctica and standing in one spot with optical equipment and a clock, the independent variable is 24 hours you take samples over. The dependent variable is the elevation of the sun in the sky, and the control variable is where you fucking stood. End of story.
Right.
Yeah, Jim Panda, narcissists are never wrong.
That's
this
true.
This idea that a forensic observation of something over a temporal or some other dimension is not an experiment is wrong, it's idiotic, and it's asinine, and it's insulting to anybody who actually does any scientific evaluation of anything.
Right.
Because it's not the truth.
Right. It's a way to remain ignorant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Another strategy of ignorance.
It's only done by people who have enough science, who have the level of science you have at school when you heat water on a Bunsen burner. And the independent variable is turning the gas up or turning the gas down. They're idiots who don't know anything about evaluation of things or measuring or quantifying things.
Right.
It drives me insane.
I bet it does, Bazza.
Oh.
Anyway, we've got 110 viewers, which is really good. That's good to see. If you're enjoying the show and you want to reward me at all for my hard work, please feel free to send a super chat or hit the PayPal link in the description, which is even better because I get the money straight away. And yeah, if you can see your way clear to doing that, it would be very gratefully received. Now then, so far we have seen 15 flatty clips, and we probably haven't heard anything truthful at all. But when it comes to the most profound dishonesty, I think it's hard to beat Karen B. Enjoy.
Yeah, so what's up? Everybody's losing their minds. It's hilarious. It's hilarious to me. This place is so cool. No matter where you go in this realm, the sun always goes around you. I thought that's like the coolest thing ever. This place is so amazing. You guys don't get it. Another thing that is amazing is that the 24-hour sun is impossible on a flat Earth. Actually, it's not. Clearly, it's not impossible because we just saw it. That's what's blowing my mind, is that a 24-hour sun is possible on a flat Earth in the Antarctic Circle. We already knew it existed in the Arctic, but we didn't know that it was real in the Antarctic. And even in the Antarctic, there's a 24-hour sun. That's cool. And it's funny because people are like, the AE map just got destroyed. Well, the AE map is a projection. I still think it stands as a valid projection, a valid map to use as a basic map for the flat Earth. I still think it's okay. Explain how it can be seen on a flat Earth while it's shining in Australia at the same time, please. Because the vaulted sky is like a looking glass. You don't know what the sky is or how it works, my friend. This is why it's so interesting, because now we get to, like, play with stuff, and we have something, you know, a better idea of what to look for when we're trying to emulate or figure out what it is the sky is doing. I mean, we already knew, like, everybody says the same thing, right? About Earth and why they think it's flat. Because direct measurements of the surface of the Earth reflect that it has no curvature, and there's no measurement of movement, and water is flat, and all that good stuff. So, there's nothing that they did in Antarctica that I can tell that debunks any of that stuff. And I've said for a very long time that the sky can do what it wants because the Earth is flat. The Earth is a level stationary plane. I don't care what the lights in the sky are circling, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That is what I learned the first 2 years when I was looking at the sun and taking measurements of the sun and doing observations and photographing the moon and doing all that stuff, blah, 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 you know, before I even started making videos. I pretty much learned that observations of the sky match the globe, because the globe was literally made up off of looking at the lights in the sky. You know? That's how the globe was made up, because they couldn't explain in old times why the sky is doing what it's doing. But now we have a little bit more technology, we have some knowledge, we have the ability to make different models and play with light and see what light does. And light behaves weird. Light is weird, by the way. It is so weird. I feel like light, I mean, if you really want to get into it, I feel like light is conscious. And all I could think is, like, when they're sitting there in Antarctica, they're basically on the edge of the known world, the outer parts, or, you know, of the known world, that as we would know it, right? And the sun is going around them. I thought, to me, I was like, this place is magical. It's freaking magical. Literally, no matter where you go in this realm, the sun goes around you. It just looks different depending on where you're standing. It kind of looks a little weird in the outer parts and then the very center. But really, if you think about it, no matter where you stand on the plane, the sun will go around you. You know, if based on the globe model, the North Pole and the South Pole should be essentially the same, but they're not. They're completely different. It's way more of a hostile environment in Antarctica than it is in the sun, in the north. Antarctica is made to be so hostile and uninviting, and like, and it will, the environment alone will literally kill you. So to me, it's like the creator's way of like setting up like a boundary, right? We'll just make it so horrible that they just don't even want to go out there anyway. There's nothing there anyway. And it's big enough inside that each one of us is never, ever, ever going to see the entirety of the known world in our lives. That's what I'm saying. Nobody uses that as a proof, you know? They might. I mean, well, some people have used it as maybe put it in the flat earth bucket, but now you take it out. So what? We still have the preponderance of evidence. There's still stuff that cannot be reconciled with the globe. Lots of stuff that cannot be reconciled with the globe. So we don't live on a globe. There's nothing you could ever show me in the sky that's going to make me think that the earth under my feet is a giant ball spinning in space. There's just nothing. Antarctica is like the only continent without nations or countries. Right. Like that one guy in the video says, nothing about Antarctica makes sense. Now, he doesn't say, oh, the sun doesn't go 24 hours in Antarctica. He said it doesn't make sense on a globe. And it doesn't. It doesn't make sense. Patricia, let them ruin their scripts hating on this. Effie will survive this. They answered a question we didn't ask. We asked for curvature in real moon landing vids. No one asked about the 24-hour sun. Well, I guess Jaren did. But you know, it's kind of a dirty trick by globies to do this, though, right? They're like, well, let's take them down to Antarctica and they'll see that the sun does go around. You know, it kind of seems a little bit, you know. Well, Jaren and Austin didn't call it the final experiment. They didn't call it that. That was Duffy's thing, and I'm sure they do that on purpose because they want us to stop talking about it. They want us to stop challenging them, you guys. They would fucking love it if we all just shut up and just said, "Oh, you're right, Earth and globe," you know, and stopped questioning everything. Of course, they want us to shut up, and so they're gonna name it the final experiment because. Even in Duffy's interviews, we're going to put this to bed. We're going to end the debate. No, you're freaking not. No, you're not. Because there's too much stuff that debunks the globe. The globe is debunked. It's debunked. The Earth is not a globe. I don't know what this place is. I have no idea what this place is. Nobody knows what it looks like from the outside. Nobody knows. A lot of people were denying that there would be a 24-hour sun in the Antarctic. Now we know it's there. Great. Check that off the list. Now we know. Mystery solved. You know what's funny to me is like they all talk about how far they can see on the ice. Like, they should be doing some long distance observations, right? Like, couldn't they do a long enough distance? Well, I guess I don't know if well, you would have to go out a few miles. So I don't know if they're letting people get that far. They're all happy. They can, say that proves the globe all they want, but it doesn't. And you know what? Maybe now that we have seen the 24-hour sun and it's been confirmed, maybe now everybody can stop talking about the lights in the sky and we can start focusing on the Earth once again. And can people start, let's start pushing that there is no curvature and there's no motion, because that's really what the big deal is. Water is flat, baby. Maybe now we can talk about how there's no curvature on the Earth. And the map is fine. Like, hasn't it already been confirmed that wherever the sun is over solar noon on the AE map, that's where it is in real life? So, is that going to change? No. In that one video, Duffy says that on the Gleason's map that it says that there's no sun 80 degrees south. It doesn't say that. It says there's no, quote, sunlight beyond 80 degrees south. So they were not beyond 80 degrees south. So I don't know. I don't think the AE map is done. I think it just needs an amendment.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Oh my God, the amount of copium that woman has taken.
Right. I just want to believe. Leave us alone.
That means that, they were at 79 south, so, 10 miles away, there would be no light.
Right. Brainery says, thanks for the shows this year, Jem, and Happy New Year. And thank you, Brainery, for that very generous super chat. Very much appreciated. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm just wondering if anyone else considered that coherent. I didn't understand what the hell she was saying. I feel stupid.
Well, she says that AE map's okay, but it's not okay, but it is okay. It still can be used, but it can't be used. It's got some problems, but there's no point trying to just look at those problems, because those aren't the problems that you should be focusing on.
She's a woo-woo peddler.
Yeah, I don't know really where they're going to go with it now. What are they going to do with the AE map in the new year? Have you got a plan?
I love how she talked about the magical aspects.
Yeah, well, I'll show you where they're going to go. We've got some stuff coming up on that. But before that, David Weiss was originally supportive of Jaren and Whitsitt, but I guess it finally dawned on him that his useless app is now useless even to dumb flatties. So his position is shifting somewhat.
All right, so what I'm going to do, I have a bunch of things I want to show you, some interesting data points. I want to go over some things that flat earthers are saying that we need to correct, because the whole world thinks we're stupid. We don't need the Globers to prove we're stupid. So if I debunk something that you believe, say thank you, don't call me a shell, all right? And go do it yourself. So again, if I didn't know Jaren and Austin personally, I'd be... I don't know. I'm not sure they were there. I don't know what they did. I think they're paid off. I would be suspecting all of those things, but I was too involved because they wanted me to go. I know too much information to say that they didn't go. So I want people to think about this, because even all of us, even all of this panel, we don't realize how big of an operation this is. The most important secret to the elite, the most important, is keeping the globe lie alive, because if the globe lie dies, they lose all control of humanity, right? So think about this, the moon landing. Why did they do that? To keep the globe lie alive, right? So they've done a lot of events in this world that took a lot of planning and a lot of people, and they were able to pull them off and fool the world. For example, the Beachy School in Connecticut, the running thing in Boston, right? There was thousands and thousands of people involved with those, right? And if you don't think that those were, events, you haven't done your research, and feel free to email me and I'll send you the information so you can look. So I think this is an operation bigger than those two put together and as important as the moon landing. So to think otherwise is naive, right? They're watching us. They change things. They blow up the Georgia Guidestones when we have rock solid information. They backpedal. They change the globe post constantly. and don't think that this wasn't well planned. My hypothesis is this was planned for over a decade, and they put the actors in place. Right. So as this started, I was voted #1 to go to Antarctica, and I said no from the first email that Duffy gave me. I replied once, "Tell me what you're talking about." And he goes, "Oh, you have to wait." And I said, "Don't email me again. Don't ever use my name. I don't want to hear from you." I sensed a rat from the beginning. And so the Globers make this meme, and the reason I didn't go is because it's called discernment, right? Listen, having the fact that Jaron and Austin went, they went. Not caring whether it was deception or not. They wanted to observe and report, and that's what they did. We can discuss that. So, it's literally like the guy handing out candy, and I'm like, no thanks. And so that is one reason. That is the main reason I didn't go, along with, not being able to go. Who is Will Duffy, right? Will Duffy is a pastor that popped up, started doing sermons a few years ago in a little crappy church. He's a multimillionaire, supposedly. He's got a crappy little church, and he records all of his Sunday services, or whatever day of the week. I think he does them on Sunday. And if you watch all the videos, only a very few of them do they show any people, and all of them, he's not reacting to anybody. He's not looking like he's talking to people. It seems like he's in a church by himself or with very, very few people. And so if you're going to do an operation like this, you need to set up the characters. So I believe, this is my belief, that they set up Will Duffy years ago. Hey, do all these sermons, post them on YouTube, have a history record. And they put other people in place too. Perhaps the Flat Earther documentary guy that was entered at the last second, he's a Flat Earther. You check, look, he's been posting Flat Earth memes. Never did he post any of his own research. He just posted Flat Earth memes for the last 2 years or however long it was. So does that mean he's a Flat Earther, or he's a pawn? Just like they sent families to that Sandy, that new town in Connecticut. They put them there. They put them, oh, you're a doctor in the hospital, and you're a school teacher, and you're this, and you're that. And they set them up for their roles. So when you research them, they have a history. So this is easy so far. This doesn't even compare to what they've done. This was a remote hoax where you have no witnesses, right? And then that camp is we'll get to that in a second. But here's Agape Kingdom, right? What does this look like? All right, I'm hey, to me it looks like the Freemason symbol. You flip it over, it looks like Baphomet. That's just weird. Okay, we'll just say that's a coincidence, but maybe Tyler would have something to say about that. And if you look at when you see something in the news like parroted and parroted and parroted and parroted, it's an operation. That's one of the key things we have. So now if you Google Flat Earther goes to Antarctica, there's pages and pages and pages of misquoting what Jaron said, right? Now, I don't like what Jaron said. He said, oh, I came to Antarctica and there was a 24-hour sun. I thought there wasn't, and I was wrong. Didn't follow it up with, but the lights in the sky don't prove the shape of the floor. It just proves our understanding of the sky. And so they ran with that, said that Flat Earther goes to Antarctica and finds out that it's round. And then they show every article has the disc floating in space. So misquoting and strawman images, nothing new under the sun. If you expected anything different, you've lost your mind, right? As a matter of fact, they all got there a day before all the Flat Earthers had their long connecting ridiculous flights. They got there a full day ahead of time, right? So that's a little suspicious right there. Every video I've seen of Union Glacier before the TFA was total overcast. But Duffy, Jaron and Austin were like, well, if it's hazy, we're not going to count that. We want to see the sun. And Duffy goes, it'll be blue sky. It'll definitely be blue sky for at least a couple days. Guaranteed. Never seen blue sky there. Not saying there is, never is. But he guaranteed it. When those guys got there, I think that someone said that it had been cloudy for months without a blue sky day. And the day they get there, it's 9/11 blue. When I say 9/11 blue, on 9/11, there was a lot of deception in the sky, and they needed a contrasty background to the buildings to do the trick that they did on that special day. So Duffy knew 100% that it would be blue sky, right? That's weird, right? It was cloudy for a couple months before they got there. The Globers got there 24 hours before. Years ago, we're like, there's no video of the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. And everyone tried to find them. We couldn't find any. And all of a sudden, 2-3 videos showed up. and they were proven fake. The Globers will say they're not fake. Flat Earthers say everything's fake. No, they were proven fake. We had layering. There's tons of videos that undisputably say they're fake. So then all of a sudden, William Duffy, the guy that showed up out of nowhere, the millionaire preacher in his crappy little church that all he cares about is settling the debate, even though he's under federal indictment, could be going to jail. He said, I just did a little quick Google search and I found a dozen videos. And he did. He found a dozen videos by another character put into place, which works for TFE. No, not works for TFE, works for Union Glacier. Anyone remember his name? The guy that took the other 24-hour pictures? Joe?
Anthony Powell.
Anthony Powell. Right. So Anthony Powell got it. Anyone that works for Union Glacier, I think, in my opinion, is they're in the know. All of them, right? And to say, well, there's 25, 50 people there, staff, cooking, right? They're all in the know. They're all of them. Look at the new town in Connecticut. Almost the entire town was in on it. All right. So where was I? So all of a sudden he finds these videos, and those videos kind of look like what those guys filmed. So I think that those videos were done this time last year, on a week on either side of the solstice, and then they were put out over the year. Over several months, so there's a YouTube history. Again, there's more evidence that, they've always been out there. They've been out there. Anthony Powell's been posting them. So that's just another, the videos are out there. So that's easily done. Nothing spectacular there, right? Then they were told they can only bring 50 or 55 pounds. Their bag can only be 50 or 55 pounds. Well, their clothing and boots and everything alone are going to weigh that. So they had to really scale down, and they can only bring their GoPros, a P900 or P1000, right? And so they couldn't bring a hydrogen alpha telescope. They couldn't bring real equipment that would tell us more about the sky because they were limited to 50 pounds each. But when they got there, Duffy told them, I was wrong. You could have brought as many bags as you want as long as none of them were over 50 pounds. Okay? Strike 7. Okay? When they get there, this camp has tons and tons of tents. The entire camp empties out. Unless I'm wrong, the entire camp emptied out for this TFE, right? Emptied out. It's only them there. No other witnesses except the employees and those guys, right? And then 2 days before they left, whatever, there's a storm coming in, biggest storm of the year. So you're going to have to leave now or you're going to be stuck here through Christmas, right? And so everyone's like, okay, we're leaving. But when the plane came in, unless I have this wrong, there was 50 new people coming to the camp, right? So did they schedule people to show up while they were there? And it's just a coincidence that nobody else was there at this prime solstice week where the 24-hour sun would be seen, right? That's strike number 8.
Just so reaching so much, isn't he? I mean, he
gets so much wrong.
Yeah.
Just about everything he said was wrong. Totally wrong.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely everything.
He said, go ahead, Pazzo. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that the one thing that struck me at the beginning, he said that, once the globe Earth, the deception falls, then they lose their power. I mean, he's talking about a group of people that control the current, the military, all the political institutions, the trade, manufacture, distribution, and commercialization of all resources, goods, and practice, and consequently the currencies. They control the cultural trends, all of the military, all of the media, everything in our lives is completely controlled by this elite. But somehow, this little fib will bring the whole thing tumbling down.
Right, just so absurd.
That's just the start of an absolute litany of bullshit.
Yeah. And you can hear him building the narrative. He goes, they had ridiculously long connecting flights. Well, they were as long as they needed to be to get from where they were to where they were going. Will Duffy popped up out of nowhere. I mean, everybody pops up out of nowhere, don't they, ultimately?
And he said 9/11 blue. If any American meets him in person, they should punch him roundly in the face.
Right.
9/11 blue. What a cunt.
He was in New York on that day as well.
I would be happy to.
Jesus Christ.
This is just a lying piece of shit.
And yeah, he's just awful, isn't he? Just making shit up, building his lying narrative. Go ahead, Pastor. Sorry.
I know for a fact, Pastor, and I know I'm Jim, and I know that you feel the same. That I would never ever warrant right, saying such awful, deceptive nonsense to earn money.
Right. Right.
He is a dreadful human being, frankly.
But
Well,
now
he's got to answer for his stupid
Oh,
app
he's
that
not
he
even
ended up
entertaining.
doxing everybody over.
that's the thing.
Holy shit.
He's got to do this to keep his app going, hasn't he?
Yes.
But
He
he's
can't just
not
say it was
even
all wrong,
entertaining.
else he's got to rebuild the whole thing, you know?
Yeah.
If his whole deal is to entertain people, he's doing a shit job, because I got so bored of whatever the hell he was peddling, I started engaging with the shit posters on your Discord instead.
Well,
Like,
thank
I
you for
couldn't-
that.
You're welcome.
Ultimate slam.
His Facebook is an endless train of completely public photographs of him and his wife on Mexican holidays and cruises. Yeah, and we all know how that's being paid for.
Right.
He is the epitome of flat Earth feel.
Apparently he bought a speedboat off the back of that fucking app.
I mean, it's just preposterous that people don't see through this.
I know. It's just...
An app that leaked all of his followers' addresses and phone numbers and shit.
Holy crap.
Right, more from Weiss now, but starting with some words from Will Duffy that the flatties are centering on.
We finally get to my conclusion on the matter of lying and deception, and that is this. After carefully looking at both sides of the debate, and after taking a very deep dive into everything I could possibly find in Scripture regarding lying and deception, I have come to the conclusion that neither lying nor deception are inherently immoral.
This is from, you can bring that out. This is from one of his sermons that I don't know if anyone was there. I don't know. So again, lying and deception is completely fine in the Bible, and this is a guy that surrounds himself with the lowest of the low of the globe side scum, and I am calling them scum, because and that no preacher would bring people, that many atheists, close to them. These guys believe in everything from the spraying of our skies to the moon landing, to that the jibby jab is really good for you, and that we're deniers, and they call us crazy, and this is what these guys believe. Vika, take that off the screen. I got one more video now. On a positive note, just to wrap this up, Vika, you there? How do I pull that out? This is a text I got from my cousin, who I haven't talked to him in a while, but he sends me this, standard article, Antarctica. And he's like, happy holidays, my favorite member. And I said, nothing new here. Misquoting and strawman images. He never said that. Happy holidays. And he replied back, I didn't read it. Good. You are a folk hero in my wife's so-and-so's 5th grade class. I swear she doesn't tell them you're my cousin, Flat Earth Dave. These 5th graders are talking flat Earth left and right because they've been watching my videos. Okay? So we are winning. The kids are waking up. The next generation is waking up. And so sometimes you just step in shit, right? And you got to wipe it off your foot and move forward. So that's it.
All right, next.
They weren't in a green screen studio. That's what I'm trying to tell people. It's worse than that, okay? They did a psyop to make those guys believe they saw exactly what they saw. Steven's model, Joe's model account for this, but I think it was amplified. And when we're done with questions, Steven, I'd love to hear your thoughts on, could that be the case where they amplified it with some plasma ball on top of the reflected sun? Doesn't that kind of make a little sense?
Oh, it does. Everything you said so far has been excellent, and I agree with almost all of it, except I would say it actually ended up proving flat Earth. Now, we never had real footage of the 24-hour sun before, so what are we expecting it to look like in terms of brightness? I don't know, but I'm looking forward to the 100 terabytes of data they claim to be releasing.
But I think ultimately what's going to happen is they're going to prove the local light source, which is just the flat Earth sun. Or and maybe they're even going to prove the dome, which is the model of Joe Hanvey and the psychedelic.
Think about this though. We have a local sun here. If it's what it is in Antarctica, Stephen, isn't the sun even more local down there? Way more local than it is here?
And I think that's what we actually saw in Joe's model, where the sun, when you're facing due south, seems to compress.
Yeah.
And we see that in Dave McKeegan's footage as well. So that's stuff I'm going to cover later, but what you're saying is absolutely true.
And we see that with the rainbows.
Steve, how big is the diameter of this light with this sun you think could be? Depending with the maps.
Well, I think it's only possible to measure the angular size. I don't think physically we have the ability to actually measure it yet, but my rough guess would be 30 miles.
They needed to get credible flat earthers there. They needed us to pick the flat earthers, so they had us vote on who would be the best to go. They picked me, right? I really wasn't the best to go. Plus, I saw that it was a setup from the second it happened. So then Jaron and Austin came in, and those guys negotiated hard, made a lot of things, but Duffy was sure that it was going to be blue sky, and otherwise it's a win for flat Earth. They knew the outcome before they went. They knew it before they went. You have to understand how big this is. This is as big as the moon landing, okay? Don't think it's just a couple of guys, a couple of little things. This is huge. The media campaign is not going to let up. And these articles are going to haunt new people for forever. But I think the simplest answer when somebody goes, have you seen this? Just go, yeah, misquoted and straw man images. Show me where he said the earth was round. If the dome is as close as maybe Stephen and I think it is, maybe a hydrogen alpha telescope, you'd be able to see the dome. And that's why they don't let anyone bring stuff like that, right? Those guys were told they can only bring 50 pounds. When I go to the Caribbean, I got 50 pounds of shorts and T-shirts, let alone winter clothing and camera equipment, okay? So they literally screwed them on that, because if they were allowed to bring unlimited number of bags, I would have gotten them a hydrogen alpha telescope. I would have gotten them something that would just really stare up at that sky and let us know what we were seeing, but they weren't allowed to. That's a problem. That's a huge problem. They're going to call it coping and this and that. It's not coping, it's reality. We know space is fake. Water doesn't curve. High pressure can't exist without a container, right? We know that the earth isn't spinning. We know that the stars all remain the same and they spin around. The sun circles the earth. The stars circle the earth. The sun and the stars go at different speeds. How does that work on a spinning earth, right? And the whole heliocentric explanation of that is mental gymnastics. And I'm lying. That's it. I'm lying. That's one thing I'm not doing, is lying. If that Freemason technology with the black sun is real, then they could just recreate that with their advanced technology and shoot it up into the low domed. They're literally in a low ceiling planetarium. Who knows what they can do? And again, you can't tell what you're looking at when you're looking at a bright light in the sky. This was bigger than that, but it was easier because they had their own private studio called Antarctica. Not a studio like a green screen studio. They had their own private area where everything they do is controlled.
Even however much info they're going to give us, I still don't think we're going to be seeing everything.
I don't think we're going to get anything great from the Globers, but I think we're going to get everything from Jaron and Austin, and they have like tons and tons of data. So they're going to give it to us. What will approve? I don't know.
They've literally got the photos from Jaron's camera, I think, haven't they? They didn't do anything. So I don't know why you're saying, oh, we're not going to get anything from the Globers. We're going to get it all from Jaron and Whitsitt. What? And this bullshit about hydrogen alpha telescopes, which he seems to be obsessed with at the moment. This whole thing about the baggage allowance didn't come up till the last minute. So he had 6 months to be offering to get them a hydrogen alpha telescope and for them to be arranging for it to be included in the baggage. So that's another lie that he told.
It's a nonsense as well. I mean, ALE's website shows, and Geo has shown on various Discord servers, stock footage, high resolution stock footage of last year when there was an eclipse down there of loads of people going down and pointing telescopes at the sun. Yeah,
right.
Some of those guys would have had hydrogen alpha telescopes because that's what they're built to do.
Right.
It's the idea that people haven't taken those telescopes down is some nonsense.
Yeah.
He also said that that Duffy hangs around with the lowest of the low Glober scum. Well, recently Whitsitt in one of his videos attested and was very vociferous in his attesting of it that while they were down there, Will Duffy spent all of his time with Jaron and Whitsitt.
Right.
And hardly any time with the Globers.
Well, they've all got this thing about them being atheists. You'll hear Patricia Steere say it in the next clip.
Yeah.
But of course, I mean, Will Duffy definitely isn't an atheist, and MC Tuna, I believe, is a Christian. So,
sure.
And I don't know about the others, but they're certainly not all atheists. So, it's just they've got to demonize, haven't they? They've just got to.
That bit about whenever you bring it up occasionally, we talk about kids. The kids are waking up. It's always the most depressing part of this, isn't it?
Yeah. Let me do a couple of super chats. Yeah, that is so depressing, isn't it, to see that? And him crowing about it, that he's managed to lie to some children, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, Jimmy Boy says, "Hi, Jem. Thank you and all the gang for the entertainment throughout 2024. Happy New Year to one and all." Thank you very much for that super chat, Jimmy Boy. And Aaron Armstrong says, "Merry Christmas, Jem. Still listening since 2016. Flatzoid is a cunt." Well, actually, I think he says C-U-N-T. Anyway, I'd agree with all of those sentiments. Thank you very much for those super chats. Shall we move on? We've worked our way up to the top of the flat Earth tree now, with some flatty superstars, old and new. Mark Sargent and a somewhat battered-looking Patty Steere, a pointless individual called DJ Curious, and rising flatty star, Joe, 16 models that didn't work, Hanvey. Enjoy.
Joseph Hanvey, 9 months ago, decided to go on a geocentric journey, and it led to the models that he's been coming out with. But the journey was more than just coming up with a model. It was everything. He looked at all aspects of the world, pretty much after work, came home and shut himself away and began doing deep studying. And he was questioning everything, including his faith. This was 2004, 2005, and his research has led him to many different changes in his life, although he's kept the same job. But now he's here with us, and his channel is definitely on the verge of blowing up. He's the right man at the right time for the Flat Earth Awakening, and we want to welcome you here, Joe. Thanks for being on, and thanks for the capabilities that you possess to bring us what looks like a working model of the Flat Earth.
Thank you for having me. I'm just kind of humbled to even be in this situation, to be honest. I never really was doing that. My main reason was just to figure it out for myself after I figured out that the Earth is definitely not what they told us it was. So I like to figure things out, and that's what I decided to try to do. I know it's got to be something different than what they've told us, so what is it? I was like, any model really needs to be able to account for the luminaries, and that's what I set out to do, was to answer all the hard questions. Now I do have a viable lunar eclipse theory. I have a viable theory for star trails, a viable theory for the Antarctic 24-hour sun, and many, many other things, red shift and blue shift. And the trolls are going to do their thing, but, trolls are doing it from behind a keypad instead of actually doing the work themselves. So I don't even listen to that. I just do my thing, put it out there. It's all about truth for me. And if it helps other people, or if it gains ground and actually has scientific merit, then the truth will do what it does. I can only describe it kind of like Nikola Tesla talked about how he got downloads. And there's been many times I've just got like an instant download, and I had to write everything down and then go kind of fabricate the stuff, and sure enough it would work, like for moon phases or lunar eclipses, and it just started clicking and making sense. So
I think that downloads are coming to you directly from God. Call me a Pollyanna. But that when the guys were on the ice, the Globers and our Flat Earth crew, guys and girl, that maybe they might, now they would never agree on the same stuff, but maybe they might, shake hands in some sort of like, hey, I don't agree, you don't agree, but, But it turned out not to really work out that way. Even there, in those conditions that were so deadly, or could be deadly if you went in the wrong area, those life-threatening conditions, that visual beauty, the stunning handiwork of God, that something might change. But then I thought, wait a minute, all those globers are atheists. They're not afraid of death. They don't fear the creator, so they're fine with being at the edge of death, freezing to death, and they'll just continue fighting till their last breath. Because they're angry people, I think.
At the end of the day, it's about truth for me. And above all things, even if I'm wrong and I have to say, hey, if I have to tell the whole world, hey, I was wrong, it doesn't bother me anymore. Like, I can go out here with my telescopes or my P950 or even my iPhone or my Samsung and run star trails, and I can see northern star trails, equatorial star trails, and southern star trails from my driveway. And then I can come in here and do a long exposure in this with my stars and get the exact same thing. So, you know, for years and years, we've always heard, well, explain how star trails work on a flat Earth. Well, we can now, and just saying we can't because you can't wrap your mind around it, not y'all, just saying in general, for the globe side, just because the globe side can't wrap their mind around it because they've not put any effort or any time into trying to actually break down the model. Right. They've always just looked for problems so they can say it doesn't work. Well, if you were truly being intellectually honest as a glober, you would have all this stuff and you would be trying to falsify it this way. I have several little solar systems in the other room that I use to try to actually, and there are plenty of things that work as far as the heavenly bodies on the globe model, but the things that don't work. And those are big ones. Like, we have water that needs a container that seeks rest at a relatively level surface. It doesn't bend convexly to a sphere that's spinning 1,000 miles an hour, 1,038, whatever they say it is. While corkscrewing, tilted, wobbling at numerous different speeds through the vastness of a near perfect vacuum while having a pressurized atmosphere. It's just nonsense. Like, and we, with ours, we start off way better than that. One, we have a container for gas. Two, we have a container for the water. Three, we're stationary, which we treat everything as though we're stationary. So, like, right off the bat, our model is leaps and bounds better than the so-called heliocentric model, which they don't have a model. They have animations and cartoons.
Right.
If you go set up a heliocentric model, I've set up, like, I took my nephew's glow-in-the-dark basketball as the sun, and then I took, like, a softball and a baseball and a golf ball and a little bouncy ball, and just set them up as, like, the different planets and Earth and Mercury and Venus. I mean, we should never see Mercury or Venus, ever. It's just ridiculous to think that I've captured Venus at 11 o'clock at night looking up into the night sky when it's inside of our orbit, and that's the day side of Earth.
You know, when you and Dave Weiss were talking about this final experiment right before they kind of came forth and said, hey, we are seeing the 24-hour sun, you already knew that, look, this isn't a death blow for the flat Earth model, and that the globe side, they can't go back and rework what they've told everyone is true, but the flat side can. Like, we're allowed to keep reinventing and coming up with ways and trying to figure out, because it's literally like peeking into the mind of the creator. And let's just be real, it's going to be far more complex than we can maybe grasp at first go around, right? So, but the amount of information and death blows to the heliocentric model is what helped get me to the flat side. Knowing that if we're allegedly caught in the sun's gravitational pull, and that we're tilted perfectly, and we go around the sun at this breakneck speed of 66,000 miles, as we all have heard, and yet if there was any deviation of that, let alone the spin and rotation, which apparently is helping with the gravitation and helping everything stay to the globe. Like, the point of what I'm saying is that if there was any kind of blip with how fine-tuned that heliocentric model would have to be, we would either all go flying off into space or we'd all be stuck to the Earth and instantly killed, right? But the fact that it's so stable begs the question that this place is completely fine-tuned, and even science doesn't like to go there because it pushes too much evidence towards a creator, and maybe, just maybe, the flat model, which, guys, if the final experiment, if they are watching this and they want to make fun of us, you know, try to prove rotation, try to prove curvature, go into Joe Hanvey's stuff and really give his model a shot and at least talk about how the flat side is the rebuttal to this heliocentric, you know, what we think is the deception. We're still figuring out, we're questioning things, we have a lot more evidence on our side. So that, to me, is so important to just hit home and make sure everyone knows that's listening, like, hey, this is not the end of the flat earth model. It's just literally the beginning. It's more data.
They really don't have room to rework certain things. Like, you know, we falsified the radius, so they can't go and rework a radius because everything is based on that radius value. So they have no room to rework there. But they do rework stuff like dark matter, dark energy, all these made up things to try to hold the lie together. It's like, you know, band-aids they're putting on the lie to try to keep it going, but eventually you're going to run out of band-aids and the ones you've used are going to fall off. So yeah. It's just a matter of time. The globe is dead. A lot of people just don't realize it yet, but they're going to.
Yeah, the body's stinking. I can smell it here in Houston.
They're just so delusional, aren't they? Just absolutely fucking just delusional.
The bodies.
What that's the? Smelling in Houston. Houston is a smelly place. That's not it, though.
Yeah. The model's stinking from a woman who's increasingly looking like two reduced to clear chicken breasts under cling film.
Yeah. Brian Peck says, did that guy really say it's not possible to measure the angular size of the sun? I think he said it was possible, but he couldn't get the actual size, I think is what I understood him to say. Sorry, go on, guys. Why?
I mean, I wanted to say real quick, Joseph's take on Glober's trying to debunk the model and everything, said they're always trying to find problems. That's 1,000% what science is finding the problems and showing how it doesn't work, so then you gain knowledge. I think it's so dishonest for him to say it so half-heartedly that basically that's a problem, to find problems in someone's explanation.
Right.
Also, you can't complain about Glober's not doing enough work to understand the model when you won't fucking give us one.
Right. Well, he is doing, because he's got his dome with his superfluid ceiling, which you're going to hear about in the next clip. And he says that that's a model, but he says we don't have a model because he thinks we should have some pots and pans set up like he has. And he also said he thinks that we should be getting that stuff to debunk him. Why? What? You know, how about you establish something to be true first? Make this work just once. And of course he hasn't.
That's the other thing. He's complaining about black matter and whatnot. We're making it up. Meanwhile, he's got that superfluid in that magic dome over his head.
Right. Just unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's got his tabletop model with his salad bowl. Well, we got a globe hanging in a garage with a spotlight. Okay?
Right. Yeah.
I like the thought of him saying something like, we don't have a model. Now, take a look at my model that explains things.
Right.
I mean, this Joseph Hanvey has been getting off the hook and been elevated, but he's always shown in shot with several cameras and telescopes on tripods in the background, and his perspex dome, right? I don't think it's caught on. He compared himself. He alluded that he's comparable to Nikola Tesla.
Right.
I mean, the man who did research into alternating currents and radio transmissions, conceived the first hydroelectric power plant, and did worked on neon light development. He's comparing this twat with more money than sense and an upturned salad bowl is comparing himself to a scientific luminary.
Right.
I mean, this really should be called out. He's got no fucking idea. He said, "Oh, I've built I can photograph northern star trails, equatorial star trails, and southern star trails on my driveway." Fuck off, you idiot! How can they possibly be equatorial star trails if they're on your driveway?
Right.
What a moron!
And he also reckons he can recreate that perfectly, and he can't because his recreation requires that the southern stars are just a reflection of the northern stars. That's his solution. So
we can see that he bought things, but did he use the things?
Oh yes, he did.
He's getting his stars off.
What?
And it's always this the
He's
sun.
getting his stars off.
It's always the sun and the moon but however dark energy, dark matter.
Right. Yeah.
They always allude that our ability to some level not understand the fringes of the universe.
Right.
Through theoretical science somehow means that our understanding of the fucking solar system falls apart.
Right, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Just so
It appears
dishonest.
to me
And
that he just lined all that stuff up perfectly for his shot. Like, hey, I want this in the background.
Right.
Let me take it out of the packaging and the wrapping and stick it up behind me and line it all up all nice and fancy.
As Pazza said, he always appears like that with all that stuff. And he does, I mean, I cut a lot of it out, but he does a lot of, I work so hard and it takes so many hours to do this. And you have to keep doing it over and over. And he's constantly going on about how hard it is and, this sort of thing. And comparing himself to all sorts of people, as if...
He's like Johnny Bravo.
Well, he's the new Flat Earth Messiah. He's saving Flat Earth.
Dude, no, thank you. And you got a church-going boob shower.
Oh, yeah, he's very, very fundy. Anyway, Mark Sargent... go ahead, Timmy.
Just going to say, did you know the way that Mark Sargent was just staring at the beginning of the video?
Oh, no, he was. And I was going to do another clip, actually, from this show, but I didn't get round to it, and I had enough anyway. But there were noticeably a lot of times when Patricia went all religious and started mentioning God. And there were a couple of occasions when Mark Sargent did as well. And this is something they'd never done in the past. So I wonder why they're suddenly tripping out all this God-bothery stuff. I mean, they've talked about a creator that they've mentioned occasionally. It's to hide God. It's to keep us away from God. They'll say that sometimes. But she brought up God multiple times during that live stream, which I thought was noticeably a different position from one that she appeared to hold previously. Anyway, sorry, that was a bit long.
I believe there's a God, but that means you shouldn't be denying all the things he made and saying that humans instead and that it's all fakery. Like, God forbid you go and look at the universe and say, wow, God did a good job. No.
Well, that's what they say. They say that God did it.
The Freemasons did
and a
it.
flat Earth indicates that God did it. Right, Mark Sargent has spotted a problem for us all. Apparently, people just don't get this whole 24-hour sun thing, as it's too complicated. Luckily, Joe Hanvey rides to the rescue by explaining his absurd bullshit model, which clearly no one gets.
What you said earlier, which is it is the especially with the sun and the optics in the sky, it is the toughest thing for anyone to get their head around. And yet and you guys can go back and check my track record, trolls, any day you want. For 10 years, people have asked me invariably, at least one in every 4 interviews, so a lot, where they said, oh, hey, what's the weakest point of flat Earth? What's the weakest point? I've never hesitated. It's like, oh, yeah, 24-hour sun. It's got to be. They say, why is that? Well, because if it's one light source, or if the light source, it can't be a standard light source, because if it's a standard, regular light source, it will, and we'll explain, with Joseph's help a little bit later, how that works. But, in the Arctic, 24-hour sun, piece of cake. The Antarctic, not so much, because it's such a big surface level. Basically, it's not what it appears to be. And yet, when I brought this up to people, I can't even remember. There was never a host that a light bulb came on. It's like, oh, I completely understand what you're talking about. They were lost. Absolutely freaking lost. Which is why I warned people over the last weeks and months. I go, unfortunately, the Antarctic experiment is not going to hinder what's going to help us more. It's going to hinder us, because when you come back, whoever comes back and claims victory, you can go to any producer you want, and the producer is going to stare at you or whatever show or whatever host. They're going to be like, so dumb it down for me, because I don't get it because it's the hardest thing to understand. The sky system, they just don't get it. Come on, we can barely get them to understand water and ships going over the horizon. 24-hour sun, you might as well be talking Latin to a lot of them.
This is the way I like to describe our sun. We have an apparent view of its physical source. So it looks like it's a physical source to us with sunspots and filaments and prominences and textured surface and that kind of stuff. But it's in an apparent position. We're not seeing the physical source. We're seeing a physical representation in an apparent position. And I think that's the best way for me to be able to describe our sun in this system. So I would be moving the light source west around Capricorn, and the apparent light source that far out on the dome was going anti to that. Now, because the superfluid ceiling wasn't in here, it looked like it was going the wrong way to everybody, and that was one of my problems. But if I take the superfluid ceiling out and I add this little dome in, which would represent kind of how our eyeballs see. Our eyes shrink our sky down to what we call a personal azimuthal grid view. And this represents, I can get it to do it with that as well. Or I can take this out and I can take the superfluid out and the mimic superfluid and do it the way I did the first time and explain why it looks the way it looks now. So I understand the process and why it's happening. And it is happening simultaneously, completely all the way around, no matter where you look.
And it's like, perspective is a funny thing. And I think it's part of how the creator built this place, which was a way to make everything seem unique to us, but at the same time, make it different for everyone.
What superfluids are basically, they're just this different state of matter. It's super ionized, it's super cooled, it has zero viscosity, so there's no impedance to travel through it. And you hit something like that with an energy source, an electric or electromagnetic field, and if it's concentrated enough, you're going to get light. And the interesting thing is that there's also a toroidal magnetic field, which there is, everything's toroidal, then you're going to get movement through that medium. So the ether drift caused by the toroidal influence of the realm itself moves the lights through the medium of the superfluid. And what I think creates the lights, I think everything's tied to the sun, personally. And I believe the energy of the dielectric plane that's coming upwards comes up and it collimates to a certain point and then is sent back down, reflected, refracted, whatever people want to say, into a focal point of energy that then hits its respective superfluid layer and ignites, causing the sun focal point sun disk. And that is carried through that medium by the ether drift that is influenced by the toroidal field. As we're learning, we're growing. I don't have all the answers, but I'm doing my best to give solid scientific explanations that fall in line with the modeling. I've done it because I enjoy it. It's a hobby. I love to figure stuff out. I know the Earth is level, it's enclosed, and nobody's ever going to change that. So we might as well figure it out.
Yeah, it's like a puzzle. You're trying to piece together what God created. I mean, let's say it. I mean, something created this place, and I love that you do look at everything through the lens of Scripture.
Yeah, it's kind of a blessing. Yesterday, a guy reached out to me that I met at the Truth and Freedom Conference, and he was talking about how he's got some property in North Carolina and he would be interested in building a learning center where we build a life-size model that people could walk into. And it's funny because even before the Truth and Freedom Conference, I told one of my best friends that I felt like the Lord had laid it on my heart that would be something that would happen in the future.
Wow.
Awesome.
Voice of reason. And by the way, my standpoint has still never changed, which is if the Globers want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to generate more metrics for the flat Earth, that position for me has the analogy, which DJ loves so much, has never changed, which is you're just shooting wooden arrows into our bonfire. That's all you're doing.
Well, so there you have it, guys. Yeah. 24-hour sun is possible on the flat model. And it's exciting. It's like, the globe side, they're gloating right now, which is to be expected. Doesn't mean that we're back in a space vacuum, whirling and twirling, and there is still more mysteries to unravel, and you're just helping push things forward. So, wow, that was awesome. Thank you.
We truly appreciate it. I feel so happy right now.
Yeah.
Does everyone in our chat feel like that too? I almost have that feeling of wanting to cry a little bit. So
this is exactly what we need.
In closing, I just want to say that I was never worried because, as you guys have heard in the interviews I've done over the years, people say, "Hey, Mark, is there anything that would convince you to go back to the globe?" And I say, "Yeah, there's two things. One would be unedited footage of space with a camera pointed down where the globe gets formed from leaving the orbit of the Earth, which has never happened in the history of space travel. A little suspicious. More than a little suspicious. Or, of course, my very famous vacuum chamber spacesuit test. And hey, I'm still alive. No one's even attempted it. So, again, put me in a spacesuit from any era. Pull the switch. Tell me how I don't die.
So, just so dishonest. That's all I can keep saying. It's unbelievable.
Was he recommending that someone try to kill him in order to prove that it's a globe?
It seemed to be, yes.
I'd pull a switch or fucking two.
Yeah.
But I mean, there we go.
It's just such fucked up reasoning to just say, well, these were the things that I selected for my interviews, so I can just ignore some facts of reality and just keep pretending that false things are true because, they weren't my things, It's just
Did that one guy
nuts.
sound like that retro encabulator click when, where he just like makes up a bunch of words that sound good?
Right.
Well, that's it, isn't it? It shows of Hanvey in one paragraph he used the following phrases or terms: dielectric, refracts, culminates, focal point of energy, superfluid, toroidal field, ether drift. And at the end of all of that, someone said, "Oh, this is solid scientific explanations."
Right.
I mean, we're wasting our time. You're never going to permeate this nonsense.
Right. It's so crazy. And if you think about how that compares with what Sargent was saying at the beginning, is that people can't get the idea of, a 24-hour sun working on a globe. But apparently, they're going to get this bullshit,
Sure. Well, we're not. The thing is, the problem is we're not looking at it through the lens of scripture, as I've said.
Right.
Which is a way of saying, a pair of bifocals not suited to you that blur out reality because of religion.
But as I've said, I think this won't catch on, and I don't think that Shane's model will catch on either, because I think that the fundamental thing about all conspiracy theories is they offer simple explanations for complex problems and situations. And that's what Flat Earth did, right? It looks flat, right? Water looks flat, so it's flat, The stuff in the sky appears to be moving around us, and we appear to be stationary. It's simple,
I can't feel it
right?
moving.
Yeah, it's simple. But now for it to be flat, you need a fucking superfluid ceiling and azimuthal grids of vision and all of this bullshit,
Duffy, he didn't say crystalline. I'm a bit disappointed, Joseph. He didn't say crystalline. He did
Right.
say superfluid. He's almost got the bingo card complete, but there's a couple of things he's missing, and he needs to do more work.
I must have cut that out because he does actually say crystalline. He talks.
Bingo.
He talks about rakia and what it means, and it means something hard, hammered out. And at that point, he mentions crystalline. He does actually say it.
Never written any. Not one. This man doesn't know what PDF stands for, does he? And yet he knows all the answers.
Yeah.
I especially love the part where he goes and says that he relies on the globe to go and shoot wooden arrows into their fire because they have to use our measurements and our stuff in order to try to even make their shit work. Like basically going and hodgepodging our stuff together in order to try to figure shit out for themselves.
Well, he's still trying to say that because they're being shown to be completely incorrect, and this is being reported all over the world, that this will somehow be good for them. I don't think it will. That this extra publicity will bring in lots of new people. I don't think that that's true.
And
There's a
they
lot of
say they
things
say they
involved.
got the high ground because they can still change their model, but the Globers, we're stuck.
Right.
I didn't know Mark
Right.
Sargent had a
Using the
clone.
truth.
Yeah, they can just make up new shit.
Well,
Yeah.
there is a theory that no, there is no such thing as bad publicity, and that's why all these celebrities come back from sex tapes and stuff.
Right.
Well, this,
Yeah,
that's
Mark
wh-
Sargent
that's
has
why,
a clone now.
Does he?
That's why Mark Sargent's analogy about firing wooden arrows into the fire is
That's not
inadvertently
him.
delicious, because it's true. Doesn't matter what evidence we present from here on in, it just fans their flames,
Yeah.
because they're not going to accept anything that actually goes against them. It's just well, if there's new evidence, it's a psyop. It's a psyop they're trying again. It demonstrates they're trying to reinforce the mechanism to deceive us from the truth we have. You know, anything we present, you could take them up in a fucking spacecraft, and that's a psyop too.
Yeah.
And the people that went, the Whitsitt and Jaren had gone into space, and they'd have wept at the glorious curve of it all. Okay, right, yeah. Well, they'd be having the same conversation they are now, pretty much the same terminology, really.
Right.
Nothing
I'm
would
still
have changed.
hoping for one of these high altitude balloon flights. You know that were supposed to be starting this year, but now it's next year, of course. But hopefully that'll happen, and I think that'll be brilliant.
Well, I'm officially a flat earther if you need to send one up into one of those.
Yeah.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
I liked how he was going to have a life-size model built in this learning centre.
I know, that's awesome, isn't it? That'll be brilliant.
A life size being the size of the planet, obviously.
Yeah.
They overtook Mark Sargent's clone.
Good point. What are you on about, Mark Sargent's clone?
It doesn't look like him. Is that really him?
Yep, that's him.
Wow.
It's a process called aging.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
It's fucking
Dude,
brutal.
I mean, it went like, wow. That's all I gotta say.
Okay, finally tonight, Whitsitt popped up in the trenches of Earth Awakenings, where he experienced the full force of flat Earth conspiratardery. Enjoy.
Yo, Ruhif, how's it? Are you like happy that Whitsitt's on your team now, or?
You're silly.
You'll convert Whitsitt.
Yeah, no, I will echo Osco's point. Not necessarily my own, but it's one that's worth bringing up. Is in this concept of, you know, with all of the videos the Geo found, like there were so many videos dating back to even 2012 of a southern facing sun in the south in Antarctica that have been there forever, and nobody found them. People adamantly stated that there were, you know, only like 3 videos and they were all doctored, despite there being so many other ones that it could have been looked at the entire time. A real question kind of comes for both flat earthers and flat earth communicators, is that, like, you know, if there was such a lack of deliberation in the research and missing these really obvious things that like have been there the entire time, if there's such a level of sort of incompetence on that angle, then how could one trust that, you know, the curve was accurately falsified?
I literally addressed that 3 years ago. Specifically. And said that if it's in an actual position that it falsified flat Earth. And then covered extensively optical effects of the dome and how it would do that. So this narrative you just said just isn't even real.
So it's it. I'm just wondering, because it was brought up earlier, when did you say you were a globe earther? I don't remember hearing that ever.
Obviously never.
Oh, okay.
I think Jaren's coming out though, right? Jaren's almost coming out.
Well, funny how you just said my name and then got called out and moved the goalposts.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know. I feel like you're going towards Ruhif. I mean, you're closer to Ruhif than where I'm at.
Well, how the?
Well, you believe in a 24-hour sun, or or you claim a 24-hour sun in the south and stuff.
I don't
like
have to
that.
believe in anything. I watched it with my own eyes.
So QOP, you're saying there's not a 24-hour sun in Antarctica?
Well, I mean, if that's Antarctica, then why does Whitsitt have to fake blowing out humidity? I mean, dude, my room is colder than the set they were at.
That is a little strange. I was just asking Shane about it too. I mean, I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm not saying he's faking it. What I'm asking is why it isn't there? Like even in that temperature in Indiana, the temperature anywhere, Canada, I mean, wherever you go, you're going to find your breath's going to come out. But the only time we saw breath is when you actually said breath. And it was like people were saying vape. They're telling us a bunch of shit. What's it like? You know what I mean? So we're trying to figure out what's people's, condensation. Were you able to see your breath the entire time? Because when people were talking, we see nothing.
You're not trying to figure anything out. None of you are trying to figure anything out.
I just
Now debunk this. You immediately interrupt me. That's how much you're trying to figure something out. That you're talking to the human that was there. You immediately interrupt me again. So you're talking to the human that was literally there again. You were talking to a human being that was literally there. There you go. I'm so glad. Like I don't care what you guys think about the Earth. Like I'm not associated with you guys.
She's clearly
because
not.
this behavior is just ridiculous. So I've addressed this multiple. You're all interrupting. That's what I'm saying. When you say you're just trying to figure out what's going on, that is a lie. Because if you're trying to figure out what's going on, you wouldn't feel the need to censor the person that was there that's trying to answer your question. But if you're trying to push a narrative and you weren't interested in truth, and you're going to keep pushing the narrative regardless of what I say, then you would feel the need to censor me and interrupt me. Right? So I've addressed this multiple times. There's a live stream where I was in a shadow, so I wasn't in the bright sun. You see my breath the entire time. And I've told all you super truthers this multiple times, and you can just go look it up. I did a live stream with Owen Benjamin, and you can see my breath most of the interview. And not one of you people have retracted the narrative. You keep saying it anyway. So what that proves is that you're not interested in truth. I've addressed it very simply. We were in a desert. It is very dry there. And the visibility of breath is it's like a directly proportionate relationship to humidity in the air. You can Google this. Why do we see our breath? Why do we see our breath when it's cold? And Google will tell you it's based on the moisture on the air and in your lungs.
He said it's a dry atmosphere. The more dry it is outside, the more you see the humidity of your own breath in contrast to that. It's a horrible argument. That's why when it's humid during the summer, you don't see your breath. It's an aspect of the temperature difference and the humidity difference, and your throat is extremely covered in phlegm. You have lots of humidity inside. None of this is relevant, right? The problem is that only your first breath was visible. And then you tried to do it 2 more times and you were embarrassed. You're pretending like, oh, it hurts my lungs to breathe. So there's no situation in a cold environment where only one breath is going to be visible and then the rest are completely not visible. You clearly did something beforehand, which you could see on camera. You did something with your mouth to make it so that your breath was visible. Whether you pushed with pressure with your mouth closed or you hit a vape or something, you clearly were trying to prove that you were in a cold environment.
Okay,
so I'm gonna respond. This is direct accusation. I've responded to this multiple times, but you're not a real truther. You're gonna say it again anyway. So I went inside. I played a song on my stream, and I went inside. I drank some water. I came outside. When I went back in front of the camera, you could see my breath a lot. I was surprised that you could see my breath a lot, and I'm like, oh, what now? There's my breath. And then I took a deep breath and tried to blow out again, and you couldn't see it. You Sherlock Holmes don't seem to be able to use your brain for more than 5 consecutive seconds, because you would obviously figure out, if I was trying to deceive you and I knew I only had one breath that was going to be visible, why would I blatantly take another huge deep breath and show nothing, and then do it again and show nothing? If I had done some trick that I was going to fake being able to see my breath one time, why would I take a huge deep breath in front of the camera thinking I was going to see it again and then I couldn't? Then when I took my second really deep breath, it literally hurt my lungs because it's cold and dry. And I said that it hurt my lungs. That's what literally happened. Every time I went into a building and you kind of warm up and you drink water, when you come back outside and you're just talking, you'll see your breath way more visibly. I don't guess it's the water in your mouth or your throat or whatever it is. But after just a couple minutes, not even a full 2 minutes, you quickly start having really dry throat, a really dry mouth, and you don't see your breath anymore.
Yo, if his throat was as dry as he's saying, like there's no moisture in his throat, he would be complaining about like his throat, like it being difficult to swallow or some shit. It's so ridiculous, bro. You guys actually believe this?
That was the most retarded argument ever. Like here's what I want one of these people to address specifically. How did I fake my breath for an entire live stream consecutively in the Owen Benjamin live stream? Answer it directly.
Yeah, I have no idea. I didn't look at that one. I looked at the one that you do it once, and then the next 2 times you try to do it, and you're like embarrassed, and you try to play it off like.
Okay, so if I do a whole live stream where you can see my breath, that would obviously debunk your claim, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
they turned up the AC or something. Who knows what? Bro, Whitsitt, you're trying to troll people that are conspiracy theorists, bro. It's a joke, bro. Dude,
and this was so fun. Dude, you thought I was amazing 3 weeks ago, my guy. Think about how you.
You're a great
3 weeks
debater,
ago.
dude. You've been trained for this, and now you're bringing everybody to geocentric balls.
Now I'm an agent. Now I'm an agent.
You always were.
It ended. It's good to see, though, isn't it? I enjoyed seeing that.
It is.
And I thought the guy at the beginning made a good point about, you know, how can they rely on their reasoning, sort of thing, when they've been so wrong. You know, their reasoning for other things like, you know, falsifying the curve. And I think that's a very good point. And he also mentioned that, his example of that was the way that all these videos of Antarctic sun exist, and they all said they didn't. And I think the reason for that is because none of them ever bothered to look. They just repeated the line that, there's hundreds in the north and none in the south. They all just repeated it. None of them ever bothered to actually look for them.
Sure.
And Whitsit's answer to that was pathetic. I debunked that 3 years ago, and I talked about the curve. I mean, how is that a refutation in any way of what was put to him?
Yeah.
But the other point I'd make, my final point, is what you saw happening there was what Whitsitt and Jaron have trained these people to do. This is what Jaron would be doing if he hadn't been there and someone else had gone. He would be doing exactly the same thing. You know, he would be drawing conclusions for, you didn't breathe and you didn't complain that your your throat was dry. You know, you would be complaining, you know, just like when, you know, there's a mass event somewhere and they say, he would be crying or he wouldn't be crying, or, you know what I mean? They've always got these things about what people would be doing in a certain situation. Anyway, I said I was going to shut up, didn't I? So please go ahead.
Yeah, they're shields.
That's a great point, John. Excellent point. Whitsit's getting back what he trained his operatives to do. They're doing back.
It's called karma. Karma, guys. Karma.
Well, I was in there, and what you 2K said at the beginning about, how can we rely on our evaluation skills when we didn't look, we didn't see, and we said what we saw was fake, and for anybody sitting in there with any sense of reasonable, critical thinking skills, you could feel the ground rumbling underneath you. Do you know what I mean? But it just moved on. Whitsitt said, I just addressed it 3 years ago, and it was lost in the mire of nonsense then. But Whitsitt, whilst that was going on, there was a bit of quipping in DMs, and also it didn't quite. A bit later on, it ended up being called Vape Gate because they suggested that he'd gone inside and inhaled on a vape and came outside, and that was why there was a bit at the beginning.
I noticed you had a few lines go by in bold. What was one of yours? Condensation deniers, I think, was one of them. Yeah.
And at one point, someone said, Whitsitt said, "Well, if I'm I can't remember what he said. He said something along the lines of if I've got something and it exists and there's something as an image, then how many of them are there?" And I'm going, there'd only be one Whitsitt because in your proposition, I'm a truther and that's the way it is. And Whitsitt went, thank you, because he was fighting with people who were literally just pretending that he was some sort of completely falsifying agent. You know, they're literally that Q-op guy. You know, he goes, well, my room is colder than where it was. You know, what are you talking about? You live in America. It's Antarctica.
Right.
It was a pretty good troll.
Now, just get this out, this super chat. Metal Slugs Master says, wrong as usual, Chris. And I think this was in response to Chris Berry saying there are no atheists in foxholes. He says, wrong as usual, Chris. I was shot at in Afghanistan for an entire year and remained atheist the entire time. Thank you very much for that, Slugs. Very, very much appreciated. And of course, Chris Berry was wrong, as always. Sorry, go on, everyone.
And we thank you for your service. And obviously, I'm not talking about fucking Chris Berry in that case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know that I'm newer to this, so I don't know all of the characters like you do. So my mindset was a little bit different because what I was listening was someone that used to be very indoctrinated into a cult, all of a sudden being like, oh shit, this cult is fake. And then all of his buddies and everyone shunning him out of the cult. That's what it sounded like to me, but that's because I don't have the same investment in these people as you do.
Well, that's happening to some extent. I'm not sure if it's all
they're SPs now.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of reminds me of the Wendy's drive restaurant where Dave Thomas invented it, made it. He was the president, and the board fired him.
Right.
I'm wondering when Whitsitt is going to interview this guy that for countless years had told him there is no Midnight Sun who worked down there. Well, where's this fucking guy now?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because he's drawn on one of these secret folks in the background before, hasn't he? That told him stuff.
Where's this? Why isn't this guy in GeoServer? Where's his testimony now?
Yeah. Yeah. Funny that, isn't it?
Is he alive? Is he sober? Come on, we need to know.
All right, we've been going for 3 hours and 7 minutes, so we should probably call it a night. Thank you very much to the over 100 people who turned up to watch. That is very encouraging indeed. Thank you to the... How many people's in here? I don't know, there's about 30 odd in here, isn't there? Hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... Yeah, 30 here almost. So thank you very much. Timbo Turtle says, great show. Appreciate the word. Thank you for that. Where were we? We'll be back in 2 weeks. And I think in 2 weeks, I'm going to do the year-end show where we do a review of all the stuff throughout the year. And, this doing all flat Earth seems to be working quite well. So I might do that again. We'll see how we go. But I'll keep the MAGA stuff probably to the minimum, perhaps. But anyway, thank you very much for being here, everyone. See you in 2 weeks at 10 p.m. UK time. Thanks for being here in the room. Workthrough says, Happy New Year, Jem. I'm never going to get finished, am I? Here is the music, which everyone in this room will remain quiet until the end of. Thank you.